Slipping through the night, lonely satellite, only satisfied. Slipping through the night. Slipping through the night, lonely satellite, only satisfied. Slipping through the night, slipping through the night, lonely satellite, only satisfied. Slipping through the night.
It's not about how hard you fall. It's not even about getting back up. Legend's just a name. Legacy comes from the mark you leave. You kill me, you're better. I kill you, I'm better.
And welcome back, all you Legends gamers and everyone alike. You guys are amazing. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's such an amazing day today. It's a Wednesday, and you know what that means. It is the Apex All-Stars tournament. The 100,000 Rand tournament is going to be insane. It's going to be divine. I have my lovely co-cast there on the right hand, left hand. He's on the side. He's on the side. Check the side. That is the man, the myth, the legend, Tendo Plays. And he is here with me tonight. Tendo, are you excited?
Yeah, I mean, we're coming in for week 3 of the All Stars, and I think it's going to be a super exciting one today, right? Yes, and we've seen a lot of action coming in from the last 2 weeks, and I don't think anything, that we see today is going to be any different, especially looking at the lobby that we have today, just to confirm that we're going to be going through Group 3's games today. And I mean, look, on the sideline, I'm seeing Punks, WRLG, which is already in the conversation of, some of the best teams in South Africa.
It's very, very true. There is some serious competition here. I mean, we saw Group 2 last week was just amazing. It was so good to watch. And, we got Group 3 tonight, which is also going to be interesting. We have a lot of goats, a lot of singular players that are just insane out of their minds. Unfortunately, I don't think ATK is going to be coming around with us tonight, but they've solidified quite a lead in their grouping. So it's understandable to a certain extent, but we do have Ween Gang as well. There are some pretty nasty players in there as well. So it's going to be really, really good to see what they can come up with and how they're going to play throughout the night.
Yeah, I think it is going to be pretty interesting, and if you look back at what happened in the previous week, in week 2 in this group, it was Punks that was actually dominating the lobby, finishing off with, I think, 62 points over the 4 games that they had to play. And, we come back into that whole perspective, right, Cinder? Because this is now the final part of that 3 acts that we were talking about right in week 1. This is the final act where everything really matters now. So you have to look at the leaderboards, and now this is where you have to start to decide, especially those IGLs, like what is the game plan coming into tonight? Because it's all or nothing, right? You either get the opportunity to play for a share of that 100,000 Rand prize pool next week, or you're going to be watching on the sidelines.
It's very true. Very, very true. But it's going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome. And we have prizes and gifts and just so much love for all of you in chat that we want to give you 3 unique prizes that we'll be giving out throughout the night. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be awesome. Stick around. Make sure you're in the stream. Make sure you're telling your friends, your family, every single person you possibly can, so we can get as many of you entered into those competitions as we can. But speaking of competitions and speaking of prizes, we have the grand prize, the creme de la creme, as it were, the gaming desktop, the AMD Ryzen 5 8GB, 512 gigabytes of SSD storage with a GTX 1660 and a Windows Home in there as well. I mean, it's a beautiful machine. It's a beautiful machine. And if you want to stand a chance to win that machine, all you have to do is go onto Twitter at Incredible Connection, at Metal State on Twitter, and then use the hashtag ICAllStarGaming. And you can be entered into the grand prize draw, which will be announced next week. Next week, Tendo. It's literally round the corner. Take a picture of the setup, take a picture of yourselves watching the stream, and we'll be going through all of those tweets. And you can just do that throughout the week to be entered into this draw. You can enter as many times as you like. There is no cap. It's going to be amazing. A desktop giveaway, Tendo. A desktop giveaway, a gaming PC.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing. And once again, we have to shout out Incredible Connection and Middle State coming together to give us this wonderful tournament, right? To, bring the two of us here, especially together, to witness all this, to witness this tournament together, right? And of course, to shout out ROG for also a lot of their sponsors that are coming through here. And I mean, Cinder, tonight, what's some of the talking points? I'm thinking, looking back from last week, we had a lot of composition changes. Valkyrie was added into the mix, and a lot of people were starting to use Valkyrie. Do you think we're going to see something similar coming in tonight, or has things maybe dialed down a little way, from that meta that we saw from last week?
As you say, it was really quite unique to some of the compositions that we were seeing. And yes, we did see quite a few Valks in there. And I think Valk is really good. It's really good for that edge play. You have those ease of access rotations. You have the scan and that kind of knowledge of going in blind, as it were. So obviously, shoot up into the sky, you glide over, and you have a full overview of where you can and cannot play. But, that's a one-shot kind of deal, because if you find yourself seeing multiple teams and you're not able to land effectively, you're just going to get destroyed. So it's a pro and a con, but it is really, really useful, especially with the caustic and the Gibby, as it were. But I think it's very group dependent. We've seen some talented teams throughout these groups, and group 3 is looking just as talented, but it is going to be, I don't think we're going to see as many Valks this time around, Tendo. I don't think so. And one Kira we're definitely not seeing is obviously going to be that Rampart, because that ban is still in play. Unfortunately, there is no Rampart that can be used in this tournament or throughout the tournament. Unlucky, unfortunate. But there's still so many legends that people can choose from.
Yeah, there's definitely, a large pool of legends that people can choose from, right? And I mean, going back to just knowing how crucial today is, right? Because coming into the last 4 games, right, of these 12 games that we've played thus far, you have to go back and look at kind of like how the points are looking for everybody, and just like what, especially in this group, everybody kind of needs to play for, which is right now, first, second is kind of solidified. We're looking at Punks and WRG. They don't look like they're gonna fall down, from their spot from there. And we're also gonna pull up Group 1's leaderboards quickly, ladies and gentlemen, just to check what's going on in that group. Again, we have 2 dominant teams. We have Pretty Pink Ponies, Project Rise right at the top there. You actually can't fall short with Vibin, who are coming in 3rd place. So it's a bit of a battle for that, who's in the top 3. I think anybody can still finish in 1st place in this group, but ultimately it wouldn't really matter, right? Because as long as they don't all fall off all today, then they should probably be going through. But now we're looking at 4th and 5th, which is going to be a little bit shaky for these teams, right? Because it's still up for grabs. So pretty much that top 10. I think you can look all the way down. It really just takes one Apex Legends game, right, where the entire team is cracked, working as a unit, and you drop something like a 25 bomb, and you're all of a sudden propelling yourself to the top of that leaderboard, right, Cinder? So for squad wipers, I think it's a little bit shaky tonight, right? The game plan has to be really solid.
They really do. They need to be on their toes. They need to know exactly what they're doing and carrying it forward. I mean, looking at Group 2 here, we have Nibble Esports at 197, Omnius Gaming at 127. That is a massive gap. There is a huge disparity between those 2 teams. So it seems like Nibble are very, very solidified there. As we have INV Echo, Washed, and the Breads. Now, those are a little bit closer. It just takes one decent win with a fair bit of KP, and they can, they can cause an upset. We've got 6-9 elites, not trailing too far behind either. So there's a little room to play with between 4, 5, and 6, as you were saying, Tendor. But it is going to be a little bit rough. But yeah, it seems like the 1 and 2s, we do see a lot of consistency. We see that they are the more than capable, and those are the teams that are definitely taking it all the way.
Yeah, definitely, and just to look at what's happening in Group 4, I mean, pretty much set in stone that ATK is coming out of this one as top seed for this group, right? I mean, now what's interesting though is everything below that is still up to play for because of how crazy ATK was during these group stages. Thankfully, right, guys, we got a word that ATK is unfortunately not able to play tonight, but as you can see, their points pretty much guarantee them into the next phase of this. So tonight is everybody's night in this group, in Group 4, right? I think everybody needs to sign. We're looking at Vismus perhaps to maybe pop up and make something happen, right? Because now you eliminate that god squad that's inside the lobby, that real big threat, and now everything's opened up. So I mean, in terms of which groups we're gonna see the most like ups and down, which one's gonna have the most changes, I think Group 4 is looking like to be like that group, right? Right now, the other groups, we really have our first, second, and third almost decided, for the most part. We're really only playing for those fourth and fifth spots. But that group right now is probably going to be really exciting. I'd have a lot of nerves coming into that one. And speaking of nerves, Cinder, how do you control the nerves coming into this one, right? Because now, like we said this whole time, it's the last few games of these 12, right? This is where it all matters. And if you can't get it right, then, like I said, you're just going to be on the sidelines, unfortunately.
Very, very true. I mean, the mental is the mental and it is everything. It really is everything. If you can't control the mental, yes, you can be as good as you want to be. You can be ASU if you really want to be. But at the end of the day, if you don't have a good mental going into these games, you are going to suffer. And that's where you do need teammates that are going to be literally behind you, just encouraging you, saying you got this, and just continuously hyping each other up in the best way possible. Even if you do have a bad game, don't carry it forward. You're going to have to just focus on next. Just go next. Focus on next, and make sure you correct the mistakes you made last game. And I think it's really pivotal that you do have at least one of those players inside of your team, and then you have somebody that is always going to be giving you some kind of positive mentality, especially in such a high octane, game and series like this. It really is difficult. You're playing for a huge amount of prize money, and you're playing for not just the prize money, but you're also playing for the name, to solidify your name in the ZA scene, as it were. So it is a lot of pressure, but it seems like we have a lot of seasoned veteran pros in here, so I think that won't be too hard for them. But we are looking towards those more outlying teams, your fifths, your sixths, the ones that actually need to make that effort tonight. And as you said, especially speaking about ATK, unfortunately not making it tonight, that is going to open things up. It's going to open things up hugely. And if there's ever a time, a do or die time, for any of these players to get up to that second, third, and fourth position, it has to be tonight.
Yeah, you have to kind of just give it your all. It's kind of like a high school musical moment, right? You're Troy Bolton, and it's the final chance that you get to really just solidify your name in history. And I think a lot of these teams will have to use that opportunity. But it's not forgetting that there's still a bigger hurdle next week. Let's say now you're one of these teams and that are pretty much guaranteed into that grand final coming in next week. What do you do tonight? Is it time to start practicing some strats to try implement them for next week? Is it time to maybe focus on a different aspect that you guys are maybe trying to perfect leading into that, right? Because that's gonna be wild, right? It's crazy because even coming fourth place in that grand final is still a crazy amount of money that you'll win, and you'll have to be playing to try and finish as high as you can possibly. What this is like a practice session for some of those teams right at the top tonight, right? In these group stages still.
I mean, it's just another game for them, really. In the kind of standings that we're seeing, it really truly is just another game for them. But you need to, I think all of these teams need to realize what is on the line. They can't be practicing anymore. The time for practice is over. This is the end of the group stages. Tonight is the last night of the group stages. If you do not make it into that top 5 tonight, you're eliminated and you won't be going towards the finals. And if we're talking about one of the biggest, if not the biggest thus far, Apex tournaments in South Africa with a huge prize pool. And if you are not in the right state to be able to make it, then sadly you just need to apply for the next one. And I'm sure there's going to be many, many more to come. But truly, I think no more time, no more time for scrimming, no more time for practice runs. It's do or die tonight. Then you go into the
Yeah,
finals, and then that's just a scruffle.
yeah, you're very correct, right? Because uh, this is the final few games, and if there was time to practice, it was kind of before. You know, what I'm talking about, especially for the teams that aren't in that position to be comfortable enough to kind of come into this a little bit more lazy-daisical, right? But you know, I think it's interesting because you find yourself maybe at in that bottom five coming into this one, having to throw yourself into this. What do you tell yourself? You know, especially as the IGL in that team. What more are you here to play for? Because it might be a little bit too tough for you to get to that top five, right? Now you're just really trying to play to see how far you can finish up on that leaderboard. Because, like I said, it's still in its own way a form of practice being involved in the tournament at its caliber right now and just getting as much experience as you can. Is that still a good thing to come into this one, that like, hey, even though we're at the bottom, let's not take this seriously. We have to still take this as seriously as possible.
I think it's all about the experience at the end of the day, right? You know, you don't just play in these tournaments, you don't just play in scrims just to win. You do it to get some experience. You need that experience. And it's all valuable. And I feel like, especially as an IGL, if you haven't been spending this week between literally last Wednesday and now, looking at VODs, looking at what you could have done better from last week, looking at what other teams are doing, what kind of rotations they're taking, you know, there's so much information, there's so much experience that you can take away from every single game you play. And that's not, you know, even from a singular aspect, even you just playing normal games throughout the week, you can always take something away from it. And that's what I think is very, very important for not just an IGL, but every Apex player. They need to be taking valuable information, valuable lessons that they've learned throughout the game, and just applying that to the next one. And I think there's no better value than the experience that these guys are gaining.
Yeah, I mean, experience is a really valuable asset to have on the team. And, you know, a matter that we haven't really discussed too much yet is obviously the drop spots, right? And I mean, coming into this next game, obviously, you know, it's the drop spots are kind of solidified. And it'll be interesting to see if people are still unsure of their drop spots. And just as we say that, we are loading in to the first game, ladies and gentlemen. We're actually tuned into Group 2. I believe we're having a couple of server observer issues, but we are here giving you some action with INV. And oh my gosh, things a little bit tough for them already. Cinder Sethi is all alone. The two teammates are already down. The banners are timing out. Everything seems a little bit shambolic right at the beginning here for them.
Extremely so. 6-9 elites, they want to hunt this down. They want to get that final bit of KP and just add it to their roster. You can see a bit of damage. There's the Valkyrie, and you see Turbo. He's going on in the best position here. He was able to fall off that high ground. He's going to keep on continuing on to chase down this Valkyrie, see if he can scratch it off the list of the players that we're looking for. Oh my goodness, he's going to use that All-Star. That is so good, but he's trapped. He has to run away. Is he going to be able to get away in time? And unfortunately, he's not going to be able to do so, dying to the hands of that flat line from Sethi Plays. And oh man, this is such a rough point of interest to be landing at, and especially if you're going to be contested.
Yeah, definitely a really tough spot to fight in, you know. And I've been talking about the season 6 additions onto World's Edge that have been really difficult for teams to pretty much macromanage their fights, right? Because there's so much high ground, low ground, and nooks and crannies that teams can just find themselves in. This is, of course, the group that does have nibble. So we're definitely going to be looking out for them whenever we can get a chance to see exactly what they're up to. But for the most part, the zone is a little bit central, so teams won't have to make too much trouble trying to get into the next zone. Team Washed last week, they had a few connection issues, or well, it was power issues with the Lemons, right? And then it ended up happening to, I believe it was Daya as well. Weisel pretty much had to solo one of the games, but they're doing well for themselves, right? They're looking to be inside that grand finals as things are standing, and they're looking to continue their lead.
They definitely need to continue that lead. I mean, Team Wash, yeah. I mean, it was a rough week for them. It really was. But it's Brand the Vein Span, the deadly duo, as it were. Oh man, they do get eyes onto the team of Washed who are looking to rotate here. But I mean, this is interesting gameplay. They don't really have too much to work with. Yes, they have the flatline and Eva 8 in hand should things get a little bit dicey, but that armor situation just does not compare to the team of Washed. But you know, some good cover, some good beams, and maybe some well placed nades can secure them a good fight between a 2v3.
Let's hope for their sake that they'll be able to get into the zone and find a good spot as well. Especially playing as a duo, it's a little bit easier to kind of sneak past, as you can see them already just trying to sneak past a team that's potentially in front of them. But yeah, I mean, going back to some of the storylines, obviously in the lobby, right? Cinder, last week, I mean, Nibble Esports dropped 123 points in 4 games. So we're really going to be asking ourselves that same question. Are they going to replicate such a feat? Or maybe now Team Washed, which we see over here, the Lemons mowing down one, gets the assist with the help from Dyer coming in. Will they be able to kind of catch up and maybe, you know, dampen a little bit of that lead now that there'll be a full 3 stacking? Will Nibble still have that much, you know, control and dominance in the lobby? Lemons taking up a lot of damage, needs to be careful. Is split away from the team just a little bit, but for now the team seems to be holding him quite well.
Very, very likely. I do agree with you. Yeah, having the full stack is so crucially important. You know, being a duo is never easy. And look at the shots coming out from Why So Friendly with this wingman. Oh my goodness, it is beautiful to see. This is the Apex that we've been waiting for all week. But he is going to have to heal up. Valuable damage was traded between the two, but there's a huge amount of damage that not just Team Wash has made, but Why So Friendly? Almost 1,000 damage, and we're down to 12 squads, 28 players remaining. They are so comfortable in the zone right now. They seem very comfortable, but in saying that, there's another team that's about to push onto their location. They need to get this in the bag. They need to wrap this up quickly because there was a third party that they were looking at a little bit later. But Lemons, he's going to get the down onto one of those players. The finish coming out, and they are just beaming right now.
G7 Scout, you know, it's one of those weapons that have just been so dominant in competitive Apex Legends, right? It just deals so much damage from almost every single distance. You can sometimes use it up close if you're really good with that hip fire, and you can definitely see Dyer just pivoting well as Gibraltar on the squad, just playing that support character, just assisting with as much damage as he can here and there. Not really trying to get too involved, obviously, right? Playing Gibraltar is you're pretty easy to hit, popping a couple more shots, and he just keeps connecting them and farming that damage. And it's good to have a player like this on the team, right? Either playing a marksman rifle or a sniper, farming that evil damage for the players around, getting those evil shields up. It does seem like there's a player on their left that they're trying to chase down. And ladies and gentlemen, again, we do apologize for not having any sound and for the video quality being a little bit low. Apex is doing Apex things, and our observer was unfortunately unable to connect. So it isn't really a problem on our side, but we'll still bring you the action here coming in from Group 2. And right now, Team Wash is looking good to kind of dominate with the likes of Nibble in the lobby.
Very, very much so. Team Washed, primed and poised, just holding it down. They've been holding this down for such a long time, and that zone is quite far away. It seems a lot of teams already made their way to the zone there, but one of the teams that is unable to make it to the zone thus far is that lonely solo player. But they're going to be fine. They're going to be all right. But Simpletons, I think that they might have an issue. They have to go through Team Watched if they want to be getting into the zone, unless they choose to use that Valkyrie LT that we have seen come in clutch so many times. And it seems like that might just be the idea. They're just waiting it out, kind of just getting some information, trying to understand what's happening in their surroundings. Laggy boys. Also a duo, unfortunately. I'm sure one of their players was unable to connect. Theme story tonight, but they seem to be pretty comfortable holding on this upper train area towards that Harvester. Harvester, man, Harvester. I mean, this could be a Harvester ending, Dendo. This looks like it could definitely pull towards that Harvester.
Yeah, and Harvester endings can be so detrimental to some of these squads if you're not in the right position, right? It can really be a lot to manage. But let's just hope for the squad's sake that maybe it'll pull away, maybe a little bit more open ground for them to work with, maybe closer to those mountains at that chokehold. OG in the lobby as well, obviously. I haven't seen much from OG, right? OG last week was a little bit lackluster. I think they finished top of the week in week one, but then they kind of fell off. I think Nibble was just ignited a different way coming into week two. And obviously, Team Washed wasn't really, a big threat. But today they look good. So for now, everything's a little bit steady in the zone. We still have 10 up. Everybody's just trying to poke a little bit of damage where they can. Team seems to be stuck there on the edge of the zone coming out of that tunnel, and Team Wash is just trying to bully them out of that spot.
I think that could be Team Simpletons and Team Washed, as we spoke about, the gatekeepers, the ones that hold the key, the ones that are protecting this very, very crucial guard spot, this high ground that is so, so pivotal for this late game that is about to ensue. But Dire, why so friendly? They seem to be pushing up here. It seems like the comp came out to Lemons. He's also just trying to watch their backs, trying to see if there's an eluding third party, but no third party to be seen as of yet. Gibraltar ulti and a Bangalore ulti have been dropped. Why so friendly? He's going to go for the reposition, utilizing that Valkyrie ulti, that Valkyrie Q, so he won't take any damage from the ulti, as it seems like Team Simpletons has made a bit of a getaway. Oh, thankfully they were able to get that getaway. Team Washed are just looking so, so strong tonight.
Yeah, looking really good, Team Washed, and I mean, sometimes that's the difference of what 1 week can do to a team. You play a couple of games, like you say, even if it's just pubs, and you get a little bit more team synergy. And I think a lot of people really don't value team synergy, right? Especially in esports, because of how quickly it is to shuffle the rosters. There's always just that gamer that's gaming somewhere that's really cracked. They're like, hey, let's pull them into the team. But sometimes synergy doesn't really work out that way, right? Sometimes what really is valuable is spending time and time and time again with the same person, just really understanding how they flow. But for now, Team Washed actually on top of this bridge, taking a lot of fire here. It's Dire. He goes down here to Lord Lisa. Now Team Washed seem to be in a tough spot. They're going to have to try to throw the ulti here from Lemons. Drops down. Wiso still trying to hold the ground. Unfortunately, Dire is out of this one. Wiso currently is still the kill leader, trying to beam down as many people as he can to try to tear some fire to help Lemons out. But Beam Legends holding up this spot here quite well, this choke spot. And I mean, it's not really pulling towards that harvester area like you said that it might. And now you can see exactly why that choke spot can be really detrimental. So many squads fighting, especially on top of these train tracks, is really, really getting claustrophobic and tough. Actually, just a little bit of harvester in it, but I think it's just going to pull away from it.
We'll have to just wait and see. Unfortunately, we don't have someone who scanned the zone as of yet, so we can't have that foresight. But why so friendly? They were able to get their teammate Dire back into the lobby, but I don't think he's going to have a box to loot from, so he's just going to have to run in with his teammates. Hopefully, they'll be able to find either some loot or be able to get a player down so Dire can maybe just pinch a box using that Gibby Dome. That is very, very useful, but that is a way away as he's just been rezzed. He's going to go up top, see if he can find anything to work with, and he's going to be joined by his teammate Wiso Friendly. So they are looking okay. They're looking good for now. But Team Breads, they are looking very, very good. Cypress, Kenny, Senels, they seem to be in a very, very good position here as we do see the zone pulling towards that train track area. Oh my goodness me, this is going to be a high ground, low ground, every ground kind of fight, and it's just going to be scrappy. But it seems like Laggy Boys rehearsed. He's going to go straight for this care package, but he's going to do it at a cost as he does take a little bit of damage there. I'm sure he's going to be able to return out safely, as that was Team Washed who is watching it like a hawk. 6 squads remaining, 14 people in this lobby right now. We do once again apologize for the lack of audio. Unfortunately, our observer got kicked from one of the lobbies that we were going to be spectating, so we are spectating Group 2 right now, just to reinform you. But the Kraber on the care package, Sendor, we've seen what it can do.
Yeah, Kraber, really devastating, right? When you're caught at the wrong angle. And I'll just have to get some confirmation after the break tonight, ladies and gentlemen, just to find out if Nibble's actually competing tonight, right, Cinder? Because it doesn't really seem like Nibble's been in the conversation, unless they actually went out really early, which would be even more interesting for the storyline of the night, right? It opens things up for a lot of these teams that were really struggling last week when Nibble went on that complete rampage. I mean, we're looking at like the likes of Laggy Boys, right? 69 might make something happen. They're really close. The Breads need to really secure, their spot in this top 5. And right now they're doing a really good job at it. in a bit of a tough spot here. They want to make this really crazy play to take the zip line onto the bridge. It could be really profitable or could lead to the inevitable doom. We'll just have to wait and see if nobody's focusing in their direction. But for now, everything seems fine. Zone is closing in. So now we're going to really start to feel the pressure here, ladies and gentlemen. 6 squads are still in this one. OG's up. We see Team Washed as well. Laggy Boys, really good position coming in from them, especially playing as a duo. And they've just been focusing on their rotations. And for now, the whole thing's up quite well, especially with that Kraber in hand.
Oh, come on, Yusaku. We got to see a Kraber shot. We got to see something tantalizing. We got to see something brilliant as the ICAllStar is lined up, but they're aware that there's another team that's going to be pushing onto their position. Oh my goodness me, look at that Kraber. The Kraber is just, it's such a good gun. It's so pivotal. It's so useful if they can land that headshot. My word. Just getting word now that Nibble was eliminated in the early stages. So that is a bit of a dampening game for them. Game 1 being eliminated so early. I'm sure that's not going to be too good for the mental. But, you know, we know them. They're more than capable of bringing it back. We've seen them on the leaderboard. Clearly, they're doing something right. And speaking of doing something right, Team Wash seem to be in a seriously good position here. And they seem to be holding it down quite well in saying that Lemons does take a little bit of damage, and we're edging so close. 39 seconds remaining on the clock before all these teams are going to be forced into a close little fight like this one, and it seems it was just the solo. It was taken. He's going to be eliminated, but this seems like a go time. This seems like the best time for Team Wash to be pushing up and get a box for Dyer to loot from, as he's still running that white Evo shield. It seems like he's going to be able to get it quite successfully as his teammates, White So Friendly and the Lemons, they are pushing in. They are looking for any other KP they could possibly find, taking a little bit of damage, but they seem to be all right. Everyone just coupling together, and they're going to push into the Revenant team. That's Design. He's going to be eliminated. He's going to go down. They need to find the last 2 remaining players whilst taking all these shots coming out from the bridge as well. Dyer, he's alive. He's fine. He's going to hit that Phoenix and he's going to be more than happy. Team Wash just looking on form tonight, Tendo.
Yeah, Team Wash really looking really good right now. Just, there's still these teams at the top of this high ground, right, for them that they have to deal around, right? So they're just going to have to try hold their spot right at the bottom. But for now, everything is just settling down a little bit. Some beams come through from Turbo with the ICAllStar, and ICAllStar, every time we get to witness it, does so much damage. Everybody's kind of converging onto their spot right here, the 69. If they can hold things off well, things will be really good. Spins around Turbo with the ICAllStar, but there's so many people behind him. And now everything off in the lobby, ladies and gentlemen, as all the squads start to collide. But as everything settles, the dust, one goes down. The wingman shot there, the headshot was really good coming in from Hankies. OG still up. Somehow they managed to escape that spot where everything seemed to be really tough for them when they were stacked on top of Team Wash. The Breads are still in this conversation, and the Breads are doing really well to solidify their 5th place position in the lobby. They've cleaned up so many teams. Actually, Team Wash is out. It looks like YSO's banner is down, and now we have 4 squads. Someone else just got eliminated, so everything's settling down. I wonder how many full teams we have besides the Breads, who are just holding the top of this high ground on this bridge. They're actually dropping down like madmen, and they're beaming down Hankies. He goes out. 3 squads left all of a sudden, and I believe they have to go up against a duo who's just one solo. Fortune on the one side, and I believe there's maybe a duo on the opposite end.
Definitely be a duo. I mean, unfortunately for that Valkyrie, she didn't have the audio that she would have wanted, and you want that audio, you're going to get it from the ROG Strix Go 2.4 headset. It's an absolutely beautiful headset, but I'm going to mention a little bit more about that in a little bit as we turn back into the action here. We have Team Breads. They know it's a solo, they know it's Omnius, and they know that we can clear this as quick as they possibly can to turn it into a 1v2 situation, but he's going to go down. Cypress, what are you doing? That was a little bit too advantageous, and he's still trying to get rid of this Fortune. They do get rid of Fortune eventually, but now at what cost? Because they have Cypress, who is down. Kenny and Signals, the last 2 remaining players, trying to hold it down as the enemy team is going to be pushing onto their position. But Kenny, he's able to get one down. He's going to go around to the corner here, and he's able to get the Wraith as well. And that is going to be Team Breads taking away the win of game 1 in Group 2. That is insane. Hoo-wee!
I think You know, if you're a fan of the Breads, you should be really happy with them walking away that win, right? Because in their group, you know, coming into that ninth game, they were sitting at fifth spot, and it was really shaky for them, right? Because if they slipped up just a tiny little bit, the teams behind them would have caught up, and that win is probably going to guarantee them and solidify them a little bit more hope inside that top five. And I mean, Washed as well, you know, they were playing so well up until the very end. Unfortunately, I think there were just too many teams stacked on top of them, and ultimately it led to the demise. But I mean, the teams that you want to see performing besides Nibble are here. You know, OGs showing up. We saw the Breads showing up over there with that win, and then of course Team Wash. So top five is doing top five things.
Definitely doing top 5 things indeed. And I mean, it came down to the map awareness, it came down to everything, it came down to the audio. And speaking of audio, Tendel, speaking of audio, we do have our first giveaway of the stream of the evening, and we have many, many more to come throughout the next 2 weeks. And one of those weeks being tonight, of course, we have the Rockstrix Go 2.4 headset. It's a beautiful looking headset, gives you great audio quality. And if you would like to win that, all you have to do is in chat, you just have to type !Cinder or !Tendor and answer the question: who would you rather have on your team, Tendor or Cinder? What do you have to do? !Cinder or !Tendor in the chat. You guys can start spamming away at that, and whoever you would like on your team. That, you know, it's all just you know, there's no bias, no nothing, just, you know, whoever you want. But going over to leaderboard for group 2, we do have Nibble Esports looking very settled in there with 198 points. I'm pretty sure that game 1, yeah, it was a bad game for them, but they aren't moving anytime soon. But Team Omnius, they were able to clutch a second place, in a third place position there, with the like of OG Fortune surviving until the end. And we have Team Washed, who seem to have gotten quite a few points there as well, closing the gap between second and third, and just drifting just a little bit, just a tiny bit away from INV Echo.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's opening up, and we're getting to see that storyline once again of just the top five in that group, you know, doing what they've been doing throughout the weeks. And it's starting to get a little bit scary, right? If you're sitting below that top five, because clearly those are the teams that are really performing and they really know how to win out games for the most part. And if I'm not mistaken, I think every team in that top five has at least finished first place thus far. I think I might be wrong. Maybe Team Washed hasn't won a game yet, but I'm pretty sure now looking at everybody else, they have one game. So you have to come and look at that like, all right, how do we prevent these teams from winning games? Because now there's 3 games left, you know. It's getting really tough. It's time to pull out the handkerchief and wipe the sweat away from your face, because it's really going to get hectic now coming into that 10th game, because now everything's starting to get a little bit more claustrophobic, and there's points that are going wayward for some teams, you know, especially now you look at like even Nibble can get knocked out early because of just how hungry some teams are. You have to be really, really, really cautious of just what kind of plays you want to be making in the games going forward.
That's very true. You have to be cautious. You have to be methodical, and you have to make sure that you are going to be putting yourself in the best position to win the game. You know, it is at the end of the day, you are getting free placement points if you can just survive. Just surviving, even if you're a rat, even if you're a full team, just going to the guard spot and being the first ones there is also a valid strategy, and sometimes can be more lucrative because everyone has to come to you at the end of the day. And if you do put yourself in that position, you can walk away with some decent placement points as well for doing nothing. But we are still running that headset giveaway in chat, so if you guys do want to win that, once again, who do you want on your team, myself or Tendor? All you have to do is type !Tendor or !Cinder in chat, and you could be walking away with the Asus ROG Strix headset. Absolutely beautiful headset. Oh my lord, please pick me, I beg of you, please pick me. But we are going to go to a short intermission. Please go grab some popcorn, go grab some cool drink, go grab anything you could possibly can to keep you here as long as you can, because the action is not going to stop there. We still have another 3 games tonight, so stick around with us. We'll see you guys in a little bit.
lost with no sight of home. Waves breaking, unraveling in my mind. I'll let the race take me. Finally coming to light, to light.
Hand out, she holds. It's feeling like we've been here before. We're both so broke. That's something that'll keep us afloat. Don't walk too slow. We can't keep falling deeper again. Came too close and the day's so far from pure. A rush of blood, but we search for so much more. We've all been here before. We've all been here before.
And welcome back, all you legends and gamers. How are you doing this evening? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing fantastic. I hope you got some refreshments. And most importantly, I hope you got your headsets, because we actually have a winner for the headset giveaway. And the winner, Tendo, can I get a drum roll, please? The winner of the ROG headset is Snowball Ninja. Congratulations, sir. You'll be walking away with an Asus ROG Strix headset. The Go Core gaming headset is beautiful. It's gorgeous. And the audio is clear, cut, and precise. So, congratulations to you. And, there was no right or wrong answer, chat. There was no right or wrong answer. Sweet. Anyway, Tendo, that game, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, pretty cool game. Obviously, the Breads coming in strong. First game, it's always good when you see a team that isn't necessarily really in the conversation come in strong for that first game, right? Because now they've really ignited themselves and they're really putting themselves on in good track to kind of finish today on a high. And let's hope they can continue going. But the group that we were supposed to spectate, Group 3, I do have information that Punks ended up winning that first game as well. So Punks continuing that lead that they're building inside that lobby right now, and currently sitting at 141 points. So Punks, I mean, is looking like a threat. WRG did finish second place in that game, so just curious to see what's happening with WRG, what their rotations are looking like, and how they're really shaping up inside the lobby. But for the most part, Cinder, this group is not really set in stone, right? After that game, because look, as far as a team goes, Sharp is far behind in that fifth place spot. Like we said, 125-point game, and if that fifth place team all of a sudden starts to fall down in just their form, then all of a sudden you're in that conversation as well.
Definitely, most definitely. There's always room to grow. There's always room to improve. And again, things can change. It's a battle royale, and if you play it poorly or you make a poor decision, it can end or result in just like you being Nibble, unfortunately, being eliminated so early in the match, and can put a little damp on the mood. But you just got to keep your hopes up high, keep your head up high, and you just got to keep going forward, keep looking forward, and just focus on going next. Speaking of going next, there are still many prizes to be had throughout the duration of the stream and the tournament in its entirety. We do still have that grand prize, the gaming desktop AMD Ryzen 5, up for grabs. I have been corrected. You need to be rooting for your favorite team on Twitter using the @MetalState, using @Incredible Connection, and using the hashtag ICAllStarGaming. So don't put a picture of your setups. Actually, you would put a picture of your setups, but that's extra, just extra oomph. But the main thing is that you need to be rooting for your favorite team. So make sure you are rooting for your favorite team. Make sure you are doing it on the socials using @MetalState and @Incredible Connection using the hashtag ICAllStarGaming. Speaking of, we still do have another giveaway that is going to be happening during the stream. Now, this one's a big one. This is a big giveaway. We have the P506 Strix Impact 2 mouse. And now this mouse is pivotal. It is such a gorgeous looking mouse, a beautiful looking mouse, and it has so many features on it, such as its 6,200 DPI sensor, its pivoted button mechanisms, and its lightweight build. It's like the Cape Town final weight mouse, but better. It just looks gorgeous, and it is going to complete your setup. So if you guys do want to enter that giveaway, all you guys have to do is, who is the star fan? Who is the person with the highest channel rankings in the stream? Who has been supporting the stream the most throughout this tournament? And we will announce the winner of that after the final game. Once again, but the Strix Impact 2, it's such a good mouse, Anyway, if you guys are involved there, you will have the rankings up after the final game. So I hope you guys have been here. I hope you have been supporting the stream, and I hope you've been enjoying the games. That is the most important part. Speaking of the games, Tender, we are now going into game 9. Game 9 of 12. This is the final, game 10 of 12. The final week of the group stages. What are you doing if you are finding yourself in 6th or 7th place? What are you changing? If you're not changing anything, what are you doing to secure your spot going into these top 5 placements?
Yeah, I think something that we don't touch too much on is definitely comms, and I think team comms is a really crucial part in Apex Legends because of how chaotic things can be, especially in those final zones. And I think you can really see the teams with really good comms. They really do really well inside the lobby, and the teams with a little bit more distraught comms, you can kind of see that one player that's lingering on that side, and then the other 2 players are kind of doing their own thing, and sometimes that's really what will make or break a team, is just how well your comms are, because this is that point in time when you're deep inside this competition, and you just have to know what everybody is doing and how everybody is playing, and just what kind of plays are on everybody's minds. And that comes into the IGL, and I think it's a really crucial time as the IGL to make these crucial decisions and just understand exactly how everybody in the lobby is playing, because now you have the blueprint, right? It's been 9+ games, coming onto this 10th one, right? Obviously, and exactly how teams are playing and how to avoid certain fights and what rotations you're going to find teams here and there based on the zone. And it's really time to get all that knowledge and really work with it.
They do. They really do. Spoke about it. Knowledge, experience, rotations, everything else in between. They are pivotally important to make sure that you can get to that final zone, make sure you can clutch at the dub. But it does also come down to your aim. It does come to your skill, and it comes down to how much effort do you put into your games? How much effort are you putting into your team as well? You spoke about it, Tendor, and I wanted to touch up a little bit more on it. Synergy. When you have synergy with someone, it is game changing. It truly changes the game in more ways than one, not just from a comm perspective, but from having fun, just enjoying the game at its core. And you're only going to find that with people you truly synergize with. And I mean, I'm sure both of us can say from that perspective as well. When we play together, or when we play with certain people, we just perform better because we are playing with those people that we just synergize so well with. And I think a lot of these teams, you can see where that synergy doesn't really lie as much, making it a little bit difficult. Unfortunately, we do have another kick out of the lobby there, but I'm sure we're going to get back into it shortly. If you just cope with us, I'm sure we'll be able to reconnect shortly. But yeah, synergy, Tendo. How important would you say it is going into these final games?
I think it's very important to have that synergy, and if you don't have the synergy quite yet, and you maybe are finding yourself in that top 5, it's maybe a good time to go back and just try rehearse, playing a couple of ranked games, playing a couple of pub games here and there, just to see exactly how you can build that synergy and work off that synergy. But we are in, ladies and gentlemen, thankfully, and we do see that the team of Punks is dropping at that new drop spot, that Rampart take over town zone, pulling towards WRG's domain there in thermal station. So they'll be sitting pretty comfortably coming into this one. And maybe this is a time for WRG to kind of bounce back. They're not too far off from finishing first place. There's not too much of a difference. I think it's maybe around 15, 18 points, just about. I'm just looking at the leaderboard right now. And I think if WRG is able to just control that area well, they'll definitely be able to clutch this one out.
Very much so. Looking at 6ix9ine Kings, they seem to be doing pretty okay here in the Skyhook area. Out of sight, just taking a few full shots. He has spotted out a drone that is flying above his head, but interesting composition. They have the Horizon Bloodhound Revenant. That is something we definitely don't see every day, especially in these competition games. But I am out of sight is just making a statement right now. Is it continuing to crack players left, right, and center as the Bloodhound scan does come out, revealing once again to the Horizon to be able to plant out so many of those shots. She can push up close, but she does choose to do so. She's going to get a crack, and she's going to level up that Evo shield. A very, very good map awareness that she has, and she's playing it excellently. She does have a little bit of ammo to work with and can swap to that Eva 8 if she does so need to, but right now it's just about getting an entry, getting something that the team can go on, and that is a huge amount of damage once again. He's going to swap it out to the 301. Very good call. Very good, you know, inventory awareness as well. But 6-9 Kings, I mean, they can definitely make something happen here, considering how much damage they're continuously doing to this team.
Yeah, currently sitting at 5th place as well, right? So, you know, they're just trying to extend their lead further and further. The team across them isn't really looking to take this fight up, though, right? They're just kind of turtling up in that building and just waiting for them to aggress, and that's kind of like when they'll take that fight. I'm out of sight has been a real big nuisance to the team thus far, dealing about almost 300 damage onto them or over. Zone rotations are starting to come through from a couple of teams trying to make their way in. Crypto drone was, you know, attempted, but the attempt wasn't really successful. Back in fragment though, Team Zero is looking like they're in a tough spot. Kitting Gaming is out of it. Yeah, you know what? I think they didn't watch that edition of Forest Gump, you know, and they didn't see that scene, unfortunately. Goes down for the count. The fragment is kind of weird right now. There's just these two teams that fought. It does seem like there's a third party maybe looming close to the area. They haven't gotten the res onto their teammate here. So just wondering what their play is. No, actually they are clear. So for now, everything seems to be steady. And we haven't seen this group, right, Cinder? So I'm still trying to just understand how everybody's playing, what's like, you know, the feel of the lobby here and there. I think we maybe did catch them once or twice, you know, in our disconnects here and there, but we haven't really gotten too much to really understand how exactly everybody plays in the lobby.
Well, let me give you a little bit of information. Right now, in this grouping, we have Punks Gaming at 120 points. We have White Rabbit at 109. Dark Esports at 80. Aquaman at 79. And we have 6-9 Kings that we were just looking at in the Skyhook area, and they're on 72. The closest one behind them is at 42 points, Nexus Gaming at 6. So, those are your top 5, and they are looking pretty solidified so far, unless Nexus Gaming can do something extraordinary throughout this game. But Aquaman, also being in that top 5, are looking pretty okay, considering that they have only 2 people on their team.
Yeah, it's tough, you know, coming into this one with 2 people. But again, sometimes the comms can be a little bit more clearer when you only have to communicate with one other member on your team. Zone is starting to pull in, so those teams at Skyhook, Epicenter, gonna have to start making these rotations to try get themselves into the zone. 10 squads are up as things currently stand. And yeah, these rotations are gonna be, you know, strenuous, I think, for these teams coming from this side. You might get caught out, you might find yourself in a couple of fights, and by the time you actually get into that ultimate end game, you might just be all resourced out. And WRG, again, just kind of controlling that area, moving towards staging, and they haven't really looked to take too many big fights thus far, and they're just trying to line themselves up to potentially win this one out.
Very likely, very possible. Nighthounds also seem to be doing pretty well, considering that they landed at that new POI. It's something we haven't seen too many groups doing. You know, a lot of groups seem to be avoiding that point of interest. It's just not... doesn't seem like a viable interest of theirs at all. I mean, you would wonder why, because it actually generally, for the most part, if you've landed there a couple of times in pubs or ranked, it's got some pretty decent loot. Generally a good armor, if not 2 or 3. But we see 2 teams here running from the epicenter, and they seem to be on top of each other, getting ever so close. It's just a matter of time before they connect. And if they're not going to connect with each other, they're going to connect with the likes of Encrypt RSA. Oof, and they are looking ready. They are looking poised and ready, as they have that high ground. They have got a bit of information. Going to drop to the low ground, at least one of the players will, as they continue to just wait it out. Wait until the zone comes towards them, but there comes the ping, and there comes the Q. They've spotted one of the teams at least rotating, as shots are going to come out there from Kenny. He's unfortunately not going to get the down, but he gets enough damage to warrant a jump pad. He is going to start pushing now, get a different angle, and maybe see if he can make it more profitable for his team. And I'm sure his team is going to be following right behind him, but right now, in the eyes of Kenny, just looking to find the play. He's going to find the play, but he hasn't landed a shot that's created enough damage, created an opening. He's going to continue to whip it out with that Prowler, finally connecting some shots, but just not enough yet. Two of the teammates, I'm sure, still prone in the zone, but one of them was able to thankfully make it out. The scan coming out now, their position has been spotted. They have no cover to work with unless they push towards these rocks. The nade's going to come out, the reposition as well. But it seems like a defensive Gibraltar ulti. Oh, yes, it is. It's raining down, and that unfortunately is going to deter their push for a little bit. But I'm sure they're going to want to re-aggress, knowing that that is not going to be an obstacle for them right now. That longbow saw Aiden, the push coming out now.
Yeah, the space is quite open. The domes are popped from either side. The first dome fades onto the opposite side, so Encrypt are going to be really safe, and it's the Rampage tearing down Roman over there. Aiden going to have to back off just a little bit, but these two teammates will be able to just close this one up, clean it all up. And they are looking good right now, Encrypt. But they have to do a lot of work, unfortunately. They haven't been performing quite well throughout the rest of these weeks, and they're currently sitting at 9th place, getting these very crucial kill points, but they do have to survive in order to win the game, right? And I saw in the kill feed that Aquaman were going down to the hands of Punks, so Punks are continuing their reign of terror in the lobby. And I mean, that's a bit unfortunate for Aquaman, right? Yes, they're sitting in a pretty comfortable spot for the most part, so they don't really need to worry. But now these fights are breaking loose again on the edge of the zone, and Furi has done so much. Has to pop the dome though. The aggression for now is halted. The team's gonna back off, gives them a little bit of time to reset, clear their comms, get together. They've lined up quite well to kind of deter what's about to come their way, especially since they were able to deal with the rep push early, and the beams from Furi come through, dealing a lot of damage. They're looking to push up on this. Eva 8's in hand. He's about to slide on in onto this player who's unsuspecting of what's going on. He's hitting the knock player first, but now the Eva 8 shots are ringing onto the Revenant. The Revenant doesn't go down. Somehow, on the opposite end, the teammate is able to get the trade, and now things are falling into pieces for Encrypt. What is going on? Everything was looking so good for them right in the beginning, and now from behind, it's Aiden getting shot. Everybody just seems to be caught up in this area, and the fight is so dislocated. There's no real clear-cut communication of what's going on. He's trying to survive on top of a rock. The Bloodhound player is doing an absolute madness, dribbling in him like it's an NBA court. And that right there, they come in, they clean things up, 6-9 Kings, and they're doing well, continuing their reign of terror in that 5th place position.
Out of sight, just look at him. The current kill leader with 6 kills to his name, just doing so much damage, so much damage, and his teammates to follow up right behind him. Especially there was a Revenant onto a Revenant onto a Revenant. Oh my goodness me, the 3rd body, the 4th body, and everything else in between. But moving over to Punks Gaming now, we are seeing them in this thermal fight here. They do have a team looming around them, I'm sure, but they seem to be stabilized. They have at least got a 1 KP on the board, and they are going to find the second. That is going to be Dark Predator, and Dark eliminated this game. Jeeves to clean it up. Now they just loot all the spoils that they possibly can. 6 squads remaining inside as we wait for Zone 2 to be closing ever. But Jeeves, Calder, Queel seem to be stable, seem to be happy with their positioning right now. And why wouldn't they be, considering that they're in one of the strongest spots in this area? But I'm sure that's not going to be sufficient for them. They want to continue. They want to keep pushing forward, knowing they have so much space to play with, and knowing that they have been able to spot out an outlying team on the edge of zone here. They do spot them out, and the beams are there. Jeeves with the knock with an All-Star onto one of those players. They've got one down. It's a 3v2 situation. They spot another Pathfinder up there, and the beam is strong. My word, they made that look easy. Being able to clean out that squad.
My goodness, they mowed them down there. You know, like your dad on the Sunday afternoon pulls out of the house, just like, let me mow the lawn a little bit, you know, catching them on the side of the zone. And I mean, this is just what Punks has been doing, you know, just running around, fishing kills. They haven't got as many kills as some of the other teams in the tournament thus far, but they are leading the lobby with 76 kills, you know, before this game has started, and continuing that lead. No one's really in that end game where Thermal Station is, and WRG not really on the radar. Not too sure if I'm maybe missing them, but maybe they died a little bit early. Heavy Guacamole down on the side of Aquaman. Nexus is pulling into that area where we did see that fight. So he needs to be really careful. Punks is there, and Punks is always hungry for a fight, a good fight, obviously. One team currently holding the top of that thermal station, trying to guard down the zone to see exactly what's happening, trying to plot their rotations, and we tune back into 6-9 Kings, who have been playing really well tonight thus far, yes. And I feel, you know, especially when you're one of those teams that are in that spot where you can't lose it all, you have to really pull up, you know, to the show, and it seems like they have.
Definitely putting up to the show, indeed. It's my two favorite numbers as well, Tendo, 6 and 9. Two very good numbers.
Yeah, of course.
They're lucky, I think. You know, I think they're lucky numbers. But in general, I think the team has been playing extremely well. They are doing really good things, and they are going to continue to do those great things as they do spot out another team here. They do have the Revenant ulti up if they do want to push. It's going to be great. It's going to be lovely. But not as lovely as the damage being taken by Exton. He's going to have to heal up, and it seems like the team is wanting to aggress onto that damage. They can do so successfully if they can get past this Horizon ulti that's come out here, and they're gonna get a knock onto item. I'm out of sight, and he's definitely out of sight, out of mind, because he's fallen down to the low ground, and there's no way that a teammate's gonna be able to get down there and without sacrificing some space. But Nate also taking a lot of damage. He needs to back up a little bit and regroup with his teammate. They have popped the Revenant, and unfortunately they cannot reuse it. So the totem now null and void, just like their teammate, out of sight. Really unfortunate. He might be able to. Nope, he's not going to get up because you have the lonely Dark Esports player trying to thirst him out, but his two teammates just trying to keep him alive as long as they can. With Bloodhound Scan coming out, they now know it's a solo, and now they're going to be pushing onto this. But Nade, you're in the lava, and you don't have much health to work with, considering you still have a team that's on top of the mountain. You need to be careful. But he's going to continue. He's going to keep that aggression. He knows his teammate is there to back him up, and he's going to be able to find some safe haven to heal up. But once again, one of their teammates being fully eliminated, finding themselves on the low ground without Horizon to get them back up again. This is very, very dire for all of these teams.
Dire indeed. Another member on the team goes down. And Rollers is just holding this high ground. ICAllStar in hand. Absolutely just raining thunder from the spot here, Lai. And they're looking good, but the zone isn't in their favor. They're going to have to make this rotation down. And if they haven't started planning and plotting exactly what they're going to do in that low ground, it's going to be really detrimental for them. But luckily for them, everybody seems to be focused on each other in front, and they're just chipping away and farming as much damage as they can. And you can kind of see they've been here the entire game, right? You can just look at those damage numbers coming in. They don't have too many damage, you know, not too many kills as well. They're really just playing for that end game position, and thus far it's worked out well for them. 3 squads left in this zone. And, you know, again, I think we're pulled into that conversation and into that position where it's a full 3 stack versus, I believe, a solo and a duo. Oh, there's a res coming through, but there's a Kraber in the hands here. Is the Kraber shot going to connect? I'm really curious. No real angle to work with. Sees the player, lines up the shot, but the scaffolding is going to be safe haven just for now. That res did come through, and it is confirmed that that player will be inside here for this end game, and I'm curious to see who had the absolute goal to make that res. But for now, Rollers are looking like the team to close this one up.
There's definitely an opportunity for them to do so as they are making this reposition. They do have that jump pad to work with, as well as that Kraber that you've been speaking about. If they can get a decent down, I think it'll be very profitable for them. But 3 squads alive with 7 players alive, one can only assume that there's one solo left, and that is the likes of Nexus, the lonely solo on the team on the side of Aquaman. So he just needs to bide his time, just wait it out while these two go back and forth with each other. Maybe he can snag a few little peaky shots there, maybe get a little bit of KP to his name. But it seems like ICAllStarGaming, they are aware of him on top of the high ground, and they are still aware of the team in front of them. 2 immediate threats that need to be dealt with, but they do see one player has dropped down. That is Nexus, I think. Yeah, I think he has dropped down, and he's gonna try and get out of the dodge. He needs to just get away. Oh my goodness, the HP that he's on right now. But he's gonna be hunted down and chased like a rat. and eliminated from the tournament. Now it's a 3v3 situation. The beam's coming out onto the Gibby. He's going to be able to pop that dome. He just needs his teammates to back him up, but there's no teammates to be had, so he's going to be knocked. Then it's going to be maybe a fair trade, but that's not going to happen. Not with Punks Gaming taking it away. Taking it in style with absolute finesse. My lord.
My goodness. The beams coming in from ICAll there was scary, honestly, you know, and it just goes to show how much of a dominating force Punks is in this game. And rollers are looking good, right? Cinder, Crepe, you have the high ground, you understand exactly what's happening below you. But like I said, as soon as they have to move on to that low ground, you know, if you're on thinking 10 steps ahead of your opponent, it can sometimes be detrimental when you are in those positions for that long. And that's ultimately what happens to them. Unfortunately, they weren't able to clutch it out. But hey, Punks is looking really, really, really good right now, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, you know, second win of the night for them, if I'm not mistaken, right? They did win the first one. Are they going to do something similar and just win every single game today, just based on how well they're playing, especially with WRG being a little bit lackluster, it seems?
It does seem so. And look at that. With 2 back-to-back wins, they do have 164 points. White Rabbit trading behind by 34 points. That is quite a differential between the two. And, you know, almost another 30 points between Aquaman and White Rabbit. So top 3 seem to be pretty, you know, doing okay. And this Punks is to have a bad game going into this next one, which doesn't seem likely with the way and pace that they're currently playing at tonight. They should be okay, but we've got to look more towards the bottom of those, you know, 5 and 6s. That's what we've been highlighting throughout this these 2 games, Tendor, is that it's 5 and 6. Those are the really, really crucial teams that you need to be looking at, the ones that still need to gain enough points to get ahead of their opponents and secure themselves into the finals that are going to be encroaching next week. Next week already, we are 3 weeks in, and we have our final week coming in next week. So it's do or die in the group stages once again tonight. We still have 2 more games remaining tonight. We also have another prize that is going to be looming later this evening, and that will be the incredible connection voucher to the value of 1,000 Rand. All you guys have to do to enter to receive that voucher is tag Incredible Connection, tag Metal State, and use the hashtag ICAllStarGaming, and you could be walking away with that voucher. Absolutely awesome. And you can still enter into the grand prize that we will be announcing throughout the streams, throughout the weeks, but the most important one is going to be this Incredible Connection voucher that you can take home tonight. Theoretically, it's, you know, it's an online voucher, so, you know, you're going to use it. But all you have to do is tweet a picture of your setup yourself watching the stream, tag Incredible Connection in the middle state, and use the hashtag ICAllStarGaming, and you can win. It's that easy. It's that simple.
Yeah, I mean, just make sure you know, posting those tweets, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I like to go through them, especially during the break, and see what everybody's posting, and just get involved. You know, I think it's a great initiative at the end of the day. You know, not only the players get to win, but you as the audience get to win as well on top of that. And speaking of winning, Punks, just to pull it back in before we have to cut into a break, has been on a winning streak right now. You know, and the thing about winning streaks with a lot of teams is sometimes this is about that game. Like, can you win the 3rd in a row? Which is always the question, because then that 4th one is looking a little bit more easier for you. And I'm curious whether, you know, maybe Aquaman have a say in this one. 6ix9ine were looking really good as well. I think there was just so much chaos happening in Thermal Station that I think people will start to tumble the bag. A team I'm curious about, especially, is WRG. It's like they had so much control and so much foresight of what would have happened in that zone, right, Cinder? Because it ended in Thermal, where they dropped. Why were they not there in that final end game? Maybe just questions we'll have to find out later.
It's definitely questions we'll have to ponder on. And once again, there's also the grand prize that you can be winning next week. If you do want to enter that, all you have to do is at Middle State, at Incredible Connection, and use the hashtag ICAllStarGaming, and you could walk away with this 18,000 Rand, 19,000 Rand, 19. It's 1 Rand difference My goodness me, the gaming desktop with an AMD Ryzen 5, 8GB, 512GB of SSD storage, and a GTX 1660 with Windows Home pre-installed. All you have to do is root for your favorite team on Twitter. Root for the team that you think is going to be winning and taking away the grand prize of the 50,000 Rand prize pool. And you could get your gaming PC delivered to your doorstep. Only for South Africans. Unfortunately, you must be a South African resident to be entered into that draw. But it's open all week. It's been open for 3 weeks, and it's going to be open until next week. But we are going to take one of those lovely short intermissions. You guys can go to the bathroom. You can get some refreshments, and we will be right back with game 3 of tonight. Oh, it's going to be tasty. It's going to be delicious. And I'm sure the food and the snacks you're going to bring are going to be awesome as well. We'll see you guys in a little bit.
Without you, I'm always in a nightmare, nightmare. Without you, my heart won't beat again. Without you, I'm always in a nightmare, nightmare. Without you, the fear will never end.
Yeah, it's getting to that point where things are getting really interesting, right? It's really deep into the competition as well, and those nerves that we speak about so much are starting to come in and to play into some of these teams that weren't really ready to come into this one and weren't really fully prepared, right? And if you take a look at just across the board in terms of just like where these teams are situated, especially again that fifth place spot, it's shaky in Group One. It's looking shaky. It's a bit of a competition right now between the boys, Squad Wives, Drip Apex to see who might finish in that fifth place position. You look at Group Two, there's a big distance between the points. So right now, INV is sitting pretty comfortably on their side. There's a look at that leaderboard for Group One there. As you can see, it's still anyone's game, between those three teams that I just mentioned, right? You're not really set in stone if you're sitting as the boys. You still have to really give it your all, and there's two more games to really do that, or else everything is going to crumble, into a pit. And yeah, looking at Group Two, or rather, I think this is Group Two. This is Group Two, where Nibble is, still dominating. Finally hit 200 points, so that's good to see them come into this one. But you can kind of see, like, 6-9 elites really need to stretch it out if they're going to even try get into that fifth place spot. That's considering INV, absolutely bottles the rest of the games tonight, and we've seen how strong that composition can be together. Obviously, pulling into the group that we're witnessing tonight, looking okay. We're actually first going to look at Group Four. ATK obviously still sitting at the top, even though they're not here. And this was the group where I was like, things are going to get interesting because since they're not inside here tonight, everybody has an opportunity to kind of, go up and down this table. We now see Ween Gang seems to be the team that's pulling ahead, getting a lot of those points. But look at that, all the way to maybe even seventh place can still kind of finish in that top five. So no one's really safe. We're looking at like Visimus, right? Damage Control, Sithic. These teams are really shaking. They really need to get the mental in together here, I think, Cinder, before coming in to this 11th game. Yeah. It's looking good for them. I think Cinder, they should have a lot of confidence coming into, this third game of the night. And I think let's pull that into kind of perspective, right, for the audience. If you had to look at it as a 4-game series, they're feeling really good. Obviously, you have to look back at the history of what happened in the previous weeks. They're still performing quite well, but that doesn't really matter. What's happening in the day. It's what really matters. So I think Punks is lining themselves up to win this third game thus far. I hope that the mental and the comms will be clear enough for them because like you said, a pretty interesting one is that some of the teams obviously are on 200 points, and it seems like first place teams pretty much are sitting at 200 points. Can Punks make it to 200 points? Looking at vibing in Group One, they're still pretty far away as well, but they have these 2 games. They need to get about like 60 points. It looks like. And yeah, we just have to wait and see exactly what the game plan is going to be coming in from Punks, whether or not teams like WRG might creep up on them as well, because they've been pretty aggressive as well.
I am so sorry. I was muted on VMix that entire time. I apologize. I'm so sorry. I was muted the entire time. I didn't think anyone heard a single word that I said. I do apologize. But Tendo, you heard me, which is good. So that's what counts. But going forward, as you said, and as we were speaking about, it is really pivotal. Yes, we do have our top 5 secured for Group 3, unless something extraordinary does happen between the two teams. And it will be very interesting to see what is going to happen going forward. But man, oh man, there is still it's 2 games to come until the group finals. It's going to be very, very cool to see between the two of them. But there's just still so much to be given away throughout this tournament. Still so many prizes that we can be giving away. So once again, we do have the mouse that is going to be given away during the rest of the stream. We will be giving it away just after game 4. It is the ROG Strix mouse. It is a beautiful looking mouse. And the person with the most stars in chat at the end of the stream tonight will be winning and walking away with that mouse. But it is going to be... I think it's important to realize that, you know, these top 5 that we have in Group 3, considering they are still secure, doesn't mean that they can't still make a statement, that they can't still take away useful experience throughout these games. You know, they can still read opponents going into the future. They can read their opponents from the top 5 that they will be facing in the grand finals, and they can take a lot of information away from that. Do you think that it's important that maybe they focus more on those teams, so the top 5 teams focus more towards each other, so you can get a bit more of an understanding, Daniel?
Interesting, right? Because like you said, it's still about making a statement. It's still about proving that you're the best. And yes, you can be guaranteed that advancement into the grand finals, but you have to look at like WRG, who have just not had it today, right? And, you know, you come in as one of these big organizations with, you know, some of the best players in South Africa, and you're not really able to make that statement that you want to leave off in the group stages, so that when we go into that grand finals, you know, when we're sitting at the desk, the discussion, which teams we think are going to win, will be in that top 4. All of a sudden, you're not in that conversation just because of how you're performing on this last day. Because that's what we're all going to remember, what happens on this last day, right? In group stages coming into that grand final.
That's very, very true. I mean, looking at White Rabbit, we have the likes of Rexu, Lone, Nineling. These are really, really good players. And as you were speaking about them, yes, they haven't been performing to their full potential. And we know them. We've seen them at their full potential. And they are definitely capable of so much more. So hopefully this game, we're going to see a lot more coming out from them. As, yeah, last game was a little bit lackluster. But Fragment, they seem to be picking up some decent armors, some decent guns. To be fair, they're going to get the 301 there as well on Nining. And oh, my word, in the previous tournaments that we've watched, Tendo, Nining has just been an absolute beam with that R301.
Yeah, you know, R301, versatile at pretty much all ranges in the game, especially once you pop that 3 times on it. The long range capabilities are really good. And I mean, the interesting topic to speak about is how WRG have changed their tried and true drop location of Thermal Station. It hasn't been working out for them in the group, it seems. They've come to Fragment, where there's a little bit more action here with Zero. With the team on top of them, they seem to be contesting. There is 1 knock already, so they already have a man advantage. But they have to be careful, because looming over the bridge is WRG. And as soon as these fights, and there's that player from WRG taking a couple of shots into them, and Morningstar has to fly away, because the damage is just too much. Encrypt is actually the team that's involved here, I believe, as well. So there's 3 teams stacked in this position. WRG is pulling in, and I mean, it's good that they decided to change their drop spot. I mean, maybe they weren't finding enough KP, and that's exactly why they're falling a little bit behind. You can kind of see it in the leaderboard right now. Punk sitting at 87 points overall, 87 kills overall, and WLG only with 65.
Look at this EVA 8, it's going to come out and it's going to do damage, as Nining does have to drop down there. He's going to have to heal, but his 2 teammates follow up. We got Lone, who's silenced 1. He's been able to get one of the players low, but the armor swap we did see in the corner of our eye did come out here. But Rexu, also looking for a bit of an angle, but there's just so much noise happening right now. I can't imagine that there isn't going to be another team that's going to come and try and push onto this. As we see Rexu, he's going to drop down. He's going to see if he can get the thirst onto this Wraith player. He is able to do so successfully. And White Rabbit, they're looking in pretty good control right now as we continue to see that kill feed lighting up in the right-hand side. And the squads, oh my word, they do spot out the final player. Destroyed, unfortunately.
Oof, but a dunk with the Evo 8 coming in there. And there's still more teams in the area for WRG to deal with, but they've been dealing with these teams thus far. Lone, looking from above, does see the one player. Beams are coming through, or that's actually just a knock, so they'll just confirm that and get their kills. And this team is just trying to find an angle from below to just stay alive and not really expose themselves too much to where WRG is. And this is kind of like one of those, you know, mid-tournament calls coming in from the IGL, right, of WRG. Just like, guys, Thermal's great, you know, I think in a stacked lobby, right? Because we're not quite there, right, Cinder? These lobbies are still, not to say that they're easy, but it's definitely not going to be that finals lobby where all the top 5 teams are going to be in, right? Where those kind of drop spots really come in and are really crucial. Punks right now, their drop spot was contested and they've been waging war here, and the shots are coming through from Jeeves. He's going to try sliding with a Mastiff. The first shot doesn't connect, as well as the second, but that third one will, and the fourth, enough to get the knock. As the team just cleans things up nice and steady, and Punks is just doing Punks gaming things here, you know, gaming, getting kills, feeling comfortable in the lobby, extending their lead.
Continuing exactly where they left off. They want to make this a Game 3 win, and they're going to do so at the rate that they are currently going. But my word, Punks have been just playing excellent Apex tonight. And this new point of interest does allow them, they are... Ooh, that's a lovely looking prowler that they could get their hands on. They just need some of those beautiful Grafton materials that are lurking around here. But they seem healthy. They seem fine. They seem to continue to be able to, you know, have that synergy that we've spoken quite a bit about tonight, and they're doing it really, really well. But
right? Like, look at that. 8 squads.
I think the lobby really has. I mean, it's crazy. That is, it really is crazy. You know, a lot of big names have gone out already. But, you know, you still have the likes of White Rabbit, you still have Rollers, and you still have World Stars to contest with. So, you know, they're not out of the woods yet.
Yeah, Punks will just plot their rotation, make their way into that zone. And zones have also been quite strange, you know, thus far in the tournament. I feel as a whole, we've seen some interesting pulls. There was that one pull that pulled all the way to the dome, if I'm not mistaken, which was, you know, quite a feat for people to see. This one is central. Central zones are always my favorite, right? Because there's no real pressure on the teams for rotations. Everybody has easy access regardless of where you are on the map. Maybe if you're in the dome, it might be a little bit strenuous for you to get in there, but everything's chilled. You know, teams will just have to kind of deal with whoever crosses them in their rotation paths. But I think that's why we're seeing so many teams die as well. You know, early on, people have made those decisions that, hey, we have to change drop spots and maybe get a little bit closer to the center of the map, and all these calls are starting to be made. And it's that point in the tournament where these calls need to be made, or else you're just going to fall short. And we're really going to look out for Encrypt, Rollers, Nexus, because these are the only few teams left in this that can make something happen still, right? But there's so many, you know, RNG factors here in that teams need to just always be thinking about. And that's what makes Battle Royales hard. That's what makes Apex Legends hard. Yes, you have the opportunity to get into that 5th place spot, but you need X, Y, and Z things to happen in the game for that to happen.
There's a lot of things that can happen throughout this game, and Punk's gamers seem to be doing their rotation quite, you know, wonderfully. They don't seem to have a contest lurking. Did see that map feed though. It did look very heavy towards the side, so they are going to have to keep their wits about them. That Geyser is not an easy place to rotate from, but it seems like they got out successfully. But switching over to World Stars, they are looking to aggress onto this team here, as they have spotted out 3 players that have crossed already, and they are aping onto the teammate. He's going to be able to get out dodge, thankfully, and they just need to reset here and kind of recalibrate where they were going, and that is the likes of White Rabbit Gaming. Look at them. They are looking very, very good. Poised and perfected as they do outweight this Gibby ulti that is raining down above their heads. But they have this hard cover to work with. They're going to go back to the top here and see if they can maybe just chip away at the enemy team that's just trying to aggress onto them.
Aggressive composition they have as well, right? You know, Octane, Raid, Revenant. They're really looking to close that kill distance. Shots are flying from the team onto the Gibraltar player, just lingering on the side there. Not enough to really worry about for that player. They're just going to hold the top of the building. Zone is pulling them away from the spot, so I wonder how long they're going to decide to just hold off this team before they plot their rotation here, WRG. This team's already ahead of them as well, so it could be a little bit detrimental for them as they might get gatekeep soon, and more teams are starting to pull into the area. And yeah, wow, look at that. And I mean, all the teams are kind of just like in this fragment epicenter, you know, line where they're just all going to kind of get choked out. Yeah, no one's in the zone.
Not a single team is
each
in
other
the
out.
zone. It's baffling, you know, considering that we've seen some different kind of rotations come in tonight. Okay, nice, slow, good flex. As he's gonna throw out a silence just for the style, just for the, you know, the finesse points, as it were. But they seem to be making their way to that rotation. They need to get to that rotation, but no. They see a glint in their eye, and like Mockingjays, they're going to fly straight towards it because they have that Revenant ulti to work with as well. Or do they? You know, there's still so many teams on this side. They need to be aware. I mean, they couldn't be aware of that, surely, but once again, as you said, it is going to be highly congested.
Yeah, I mean, all these teams are kind of just going to fight just outside that train station. And Aquaman, a little bit ahead of this rotation for the most part, so they might put themselves in a really decent position. And Aquaman will be looking to get as many points as they can. Obviously, they are looking to be like one of those guaranteed finalists. They find one out in the open, actually. And only Aces goes down on the team of Rollers. And Rollers were starting off so well today. They were looking collected, they were looking poised, but they're starting to fall off a little bit. And this is not what you want to see from a team that was in contention to maybe finish in that 5th place spot. Just fall off a little bit. But Aquaman will take these any day of the week. But Mr. Titan takes a lot of damage. Rafe in front of Heavy Guacamole. Wingman shots rattling off. Gets a couple of armor cracks there, but gets beamed on his side. Puts his team at a disadvantage. Now Aquaman going to be panicking just a little bit.
Panicking indeed. I mean, that was just a turn and burn at the best I've ever seen it. Nexus also how to find himself in the exact same position. Now they have 2 of their teammates being put down to the ground as Rollers is going to roll up onto this quite easily. They do spot out the player that is not, and they're probably going to want to get this first, get this KP on the board. But I'm sure they are going to be aware that White Rabbit Gaming is right next to them, or actually aggressing onto the KP that they think is rightfully theirs. So interesting enough, we just have Lai just finding himself on the outskirts of what was the third party, and he's just trying to put some damage on the board here.
Yeah, and this is exactly what's, you know, gonna happen after we caught a glimpse of what happened with all the rotations. Everyone's just on top of each other. Everyone's just starting to fight, and this zone is gonna be tough. We have the one player from Aquaman lingering around there in that Skyhook side. Thankfully, no one's there, but walking towards that tunnel where there's gonna be almost every single team. WRG are coming out of Fragment West now, and they're looking to position themselves in a really good spot. 6-9, one of our top 5 teams, doing well, especially since they only have a duo on them. They find somebody here that they look to be running down. Spitfire in the hands of I'm out of sight. Can they find this player? They might just be bunkered around the corner, all running towards the zone. But I mean, in a zone like this, that player would be absolutely just throwing the game. It would be doing so much damage, and to get to the other side. So they won't really chase that one down. They know exactly what will happen. And every time we shoot into somebody, they just seem to be getting absolutely shredded.
I mean, the shots are definitely turned up here, as we are seeing out of sight. He does spot the player that was eluding him for such a little bit of time there, but he's going to drop the low ground and pop that cell as his teammate Nate is trying to hold it down for him, but he's gone down low as well. He needs to be careful with his feet here and rely on some trades, but unfortunately that's not going to come in because Nining is lurking around the corner. He's going to be able to down him, so it's just one lonely player remaining as Vexu is going to get the thirst onto Nate. But man, oh man, this really does put a damper on out of sight as he is continuing to find himself in a very bad position. He's stuck in the tunnel. He has nowhere to go, and he's facing 3 White Rabbit Gaming players at the end of it. But I think he might have just gone through zone and maybe just tanked the damage if he could. But this is zone 3. It is going to hurt, and it is going to take a huge chunk of your resources. Something WRG is looking pretty healthy on, considering they've been just going at this lobby the whole entire night. It seems like 2 solos might be lurking on their back, and one of them has been spotted out as Lone is going to do huge damage with that 301 and is going to get the finish mid-air onto Morningstar. That is some incredible stuff.
Yeah, I actually also saw, I believe it's Mr. Titan, who's the last one on the team of Aquaman, close there to where out of sight is. And look at that, the 2 solos are just next to each other, next to WRG. WRG doesn't really know about them for now. These 2 solos, maybe they see each other and it's like, hey guys, you know, let's just not fight. Let's just try to survive together. A team that is not surviving is WRG, just getting pelted by these shots from Dark Esports. We're holding a really good spot here at the countdown as the teams are starting to make the rotation. Gonna charge it up with that Thermite, and with that charge up, this thing is gonna be really, really tough. WRG just using that little bit of cover they have. Wraith Portal came through to pop them in the down below. Big nade, does a little bit of damage. Not much though, not much. Dark Esports just trying to figure things out, trying to coordinate themselves well. That zone is also just not in the favor of any of these teams who are caught in this fight, because they have to start to make their way out, and it's out in the open. Ooh, cheeky little angle here for Predator. Finds the one player from WRG, mows him down, but it's not enough to get the knock, thankfully, for that WRG member. And for now, Dark Esports will just have to settle with a little bit of damage.
Rex must be counting his sweet 9 lives that he's been running with, because man oh man, he was 1 bullet away from death. Dark Esports seriously doing real good work on this guard spot. I mean, they have such good height, they have such good positioning, and they have full awareness of everyone around them, so doing really good to hold it down the way that they have been. But WRG, they still might just be a thorn in their side. Yes, they do have this Mr. Titan, who's the Lone Ranger, just waiting there, but I'm sure he's not going to be posing too much of a threat. But Punks Gaming, they are still in it. They are still in it to win it, as we do have 4 squads, 10 people left in this lobby, Mr. Titan being the last little lonely ranger. But WRG, Punks, these are 2 very, very big egos that need to go and fight it out amongst each other, and they still have Dark Esports lurking in the waiting.
But WRG, that's making a really risky play to get the top of this tower. Punks is right there, and Punks hasn't really spotted this one out, so they're in a really good spot to maybe do a lot of damage onto one of the players and try to confirm a knock. Beams are coming through. No one has really focused together on this, and the shots flying onto the players out in the open, and that knock might just come through and open things up for WRG. Punks gonna have to fall back on that one. And now it's really just a question on who's going to win this one, right? Because the last 4 teams here is WRG, Punks, and Dark Esports, all 3 stacks, and then we have just our 1 solo player. And just to pull into perspective, guys, on anybody that tells you that placement points don't matter, you know, they were 5 squads, and 2 of those squads were solos. Just imagine if those 2 solos were dead, we would only have 3 squads. And the points that you get from coming 5th, between coming 3rd, is quite a lot. So, solos griefing the day once again, and he's out of there, Mr. Titan, unfortunately. So now we just have this 3v3v3.
White Rabbit Gaming, Dark Esports, and Punks Gaming. But White Rabbit, they have the Revenant. They can do a a bit of a YOLO push if they do want to. But right now, they're not in the best position. They do have this height, yes, but they're clumped together in quite a bit of a sticker situation. They can use the Wraith Portal if it is up. Nope, they're choosing to use the Revenant. All they know is W key, so they pop the Octane jump pad, and they're going to push towards a better location. If they don't get sent back, that is, as Lone is almost about to be sent back. And there it comes. Unfortunately, that is the only problem, is once you get sent back, it's going to put you in a difficult position. But Nining, he's still up, and he's still got some death protection to work with, but they need to be careful because it's not going to last long. They're going to push on. They're going to find the the knock onto Dark Predator, but they have all been sent back, which is good, considering, you know, they still have another 3 other people to deal with lurking on their right-hand side, and they're going to deal with that right now. They're just continuing that aggression, and the Wraith Portal coming out from Rexy. Ooh, it's in the zone, but it seems like it might have been planned. He's going to pop it and get to a decent position, and they are just going to have to try hold this down as best they can, as the zone is going to start closing.
Yeah, it's a bit of a tough spot, I think, for all 3 teams. Yes, Dark Esports is in the best spot, but now they're getting focused, especially by WRG. We saw that totem push. And now Punks is in a really good spot to farm out WRG. But on the opposite end, now they have to worry about Dark Esports. So there's so much micromanaging that has to happen in here from these 3 teams. And this is just going to be an all-out brawl coming through here. Wingman shots from Jeeves connecting. It does look like Jesus is going to pull up onto this, swoop around the corner, try see if he can get anything. The gas is going to deter him. Constantly coming in big there for Dark. Aquil's taking up a lot of damage as well, and he might just go down, put his team at a really big disadvantage, but for now he's alive. Needs to find a bat somewhere. The dome is popped out. WRG is trying to snake behind of Punks. Everything is just going wrong for Punks in the spot that they're in. They're just in between both teams. They need to try to find an opening either onto Dark or either onto WRG. And it looks like they're going to go onto WRG. They get the knock onto Nighting for now, but the team is on top of you of WRG, and it's all up to Jeeves. Dark Esports is still in the conversation. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, they might just come in here, third party this. But hey, Jeeves is away. Jeeves is alive for now. Jeeves is getting some meds on. Jeeves doesn't survive long enough. Dark Esports is looking good to close this one up. They're coming in, they're swooping in, getting in and capitalizing on all the damage that Punks did. And this just looks like a Dark Esports win.
Man, oh man, oh man. Dark Esports. Wow, wow, wow. They were in it to win it from the beginning. You saw how they were holding down White Rabbit, and they were doing it so well. They had such a good position throughout that. Punks, I think, also was trying to reposition into a better position. But, you know, with that deadly trio, that deadly triangle of having 3 full squads alive, especially going into that last zone, it just makes it that much more difficult. Because as soon as one team apes on the other one, then you're just going to find yourself in this third party. It's literally a reincarnation of every third party you've ever lived inside of Apex. It really is. And that's unfortunately what happened. Punks finding themselves sandwiched between the 2, and then it was just a matter of Dark Esports cleaning up the scraps, and they did it with ease. So, I mean, that's a battle of the Titans if you ever were going to see one, because that is all 3 of those teams were from our top 5, and they were showing the true potential of what they were capable of doing, and it was beautiful to watch.
Yeah, and I think a really good win for Dark Esports, especially, right? Because they were sitting at that 5th place just before we started this game. So they'll be feeling really confident, really comfortable coming into this final game. And I can't believe I'm saying that, right? You know, we've gone through 12 rounds almost completely, and this is how it's all shaping up to be. A Punks, unfortunately, that they can't get that 3 out of 3, you know, coming into that one. And like you said, it was just the third party on third party on third party. They were all basically third partying each other, right? One was waiting to kind of make a mistake, kind of get an opening. And I kind of question WRG's play to not push Punks with the death totem, right? Because if you look at it, Dark was in the game-winning position. They're fine. They don't need to really move, but Punk still has to move. So maybe rather fight the team that has to move with you. You know, maybe guarantee that 2nd place spot, because Dark eventually it's just going to third party anyways, right? So looking at the leaderboard though, Punks 177, And they're getting this, and they might hit that 200 spot. I don't know. I don't want to jinx it, but they have this last game, this last opportunity to really make things happen. And look at how far Dark has just propelled themselves up that leaderboard because of that win, from 5th place all the way to 3rd place. And that's just how crucial it can be. But yeah, coming into this final game, I think we know our top 5 in this group. Like you've said, it's kind of been set in stone already. Rollers, we saw them. They just weren't able to survive long enough to really do anything.
Not long enough indeed, but I mean, look at 177 points. You can't be unhappy with that, especially if you're Punks. Yes, you didn't get the back-to-back-to-back wins, but you're on 177 points. Not shy of 200 at all. Possible if you have an exceptional game going into this final game of the group stages. They've done exceptionally well. They really have, and so did White Rabbit Gaming during that whole endeavor. I mean, Dark Esports, yes, the victors, but they definitely put in their all. Yeah. So it was really, really great to see
WRG from that game. I think very big improvement.
Very
because,
much so.
They were kind of struggling in the beginning. I think Cinder, and sometimes it's that 3rd game in that 4-game series where you just pull yourself back in, where it's like, okay, squad, if we don't make things happen now, we can't go into that final game really hoping for something to happen. So hopefully we'll see WRG again in Fragment and kind of playing that similar play style we saw from them.
Yeah, and if they can continue their aggression. But with that being said, we are still running the voucher giveaway, the Incredible Connection voucher to the value of 1,000 Rand. And all you have to do to enter into that giveaway is tag Incredible Connection at Medal State and use the hashtag ICAllStarGaming W1. That is all you have to do. Tag Incredible Connection at Medal State and use the hashtag ICAllStarGaming W1. And you could be the winner of this Incredible Connection voucher. But in that being said, we are going to go to one of our famous intermissions where you guys will get a chance to go to the bathroom, get some food, and get whatever you need, and come back and enjoy the rest of the show. We still do have one more game remaining tonight, and it's going to be grand. It's going to be great, and we'll be right back with that in a short bit.
I'm hearing voices telling me I ain't good enough, and everywhere I go, I'm seeing faces, I'm hearing voices telling me I'm not good enough, 'cause everywhere I go, I'm seeing faces, I'm hearing voices, 'cause everywhere I go, I'm seeing faces, I'm hearing voices, and everywhere I go, I'm seeing faces, I'm hearing voices, I'm seeing faces, and everywhere I go, I'm seeing faces, I'm hearing voices, telling me I'm not good
You wanna know my feelings every time I look in your eyes. Baby, I can feel your energy, it's making me realize everything we've been through makes us strong enough. You and I, everything we've been through makes us strong enough. You and I. Everything we've been through makes us strong enough. You and I, you and I. Everything we've been through makes us strong enough. You and I, you and I. rock with a rhythm. We can rock, rock, rock.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you guys are having such a great evening, as this night has been amazing. It has been incredible. We've seen some really good games. Tendo Dark Esports coming out with the win there, which was really, really awesome to see. Unfortunately, Punk's not going to get their third. Unfortunate. But there's still another game to be played, and there's still another winner to be crowned. And speaking of winners to be crowned, we have the winner of the Incredible Connection voucher of 1,000 Rand. That winner is, are you ready for it? Shannon, aka Pikachu. Congratulations, you are the winner of 1,000 Rand Incredible Connection gift voucher, and we are going to get that to you as soon as possible. You can buy some awesome peripherals at the store. And look at that tweet. Look at that tweet. Wing Gang at Metal State at Incredible Connection, and I can really use this PC and laptop I've been struggling on. Oh no, that's very sweet, Shannon. But that's so awesome that you are going to be at least walking away with 1,000 Rand in voucher for Incredible Connection that you can be using at one of their stores or online for your convenience. This is really, really cool. But there is still another prize that is going to be given away at the end of this evening, and that will be the mouse, the Rogstrix mouse. It is such a really, really cool mouse, and I hope that you guys have been watching the stream for all of the times that we have been live for all of these 3 weeks of group stages, because all those stars that you have been earning have amounted to something, and that the winner is going to be the person with the most stars at the end of the stream. So if you've been active, if you've been participating throughout all of this, you are going to be walking away with that mouse. So hopefully you are the most active. So it's going to be great. But Tendo, back to the games and back to the storyline. What are we looking at for the rest of this evening?
Yeah, I mean, now we pretty much are looking at the grand finals, right? Because there's a lot of teams that have kind of etched themselves into that grand final. But, looking at group 1 and 4, it's not that easy. I think group 2 and 3, as it stands, I think the top 5 is pretty much solidified. We know who's going to be there, but there's still this battle in that 5th place spot for a lot of these teams going on in the other lobbies that, we're not covering right now. So game 12, and you're coming after 3 weeks, and this is kind of it, especially if you're in that position where you can still fight for it. And we'll just take a quick look at what's going on in group 1, and there it is exactly, right? And look at that, the boys, as it stands, at 5th place with 67. Straight after that is Squad Wipers with 66. Drip Apex 62. You can't even count out early Axes, right? Because one crazy game from them and they might just land up in that 5th spot. So this group there's so much pressure for them, right? And you have to deal with Vibing, Ponies, and Project Rise. Obviously, group 2 comes in, and like I said, pretty much set in stone who's going to be in that top 5, right? It's going to take an absolute feat of heroics for any of those teams to pull themselves into that top 5 conversation. It's not impossible, but you also need the breads to kind of just like do nothing for the entirety of the game. Looking at group 3, another one of those groups where, yeah, our top 5, we kind of know what's going on. This is the group that we've been witnessing tonight, and we've been able to see the full storyline. Rollers had an opportunity earlier on today, I think, Cinder. If they kept that momentum going, if they kept playing the way they were, they could have done something. But hey, Dark Esports, 69, Aquaman, they've been keeping that going. And looking at the final group, Group 4, where it's still up for contention as well. It's not quite over just yet. DSG isn't that safe. Sithic is still there. I think, what is it? A Pyro State, Apex can still make something happen. So, all to play for in those two groups for the most part. But yeah, coming into game number 12, Cinder, I mean, what do you even tell them? Like, what is the game plan moving in?
I mean, as we spoke about, 2 of those groups have solidified their top 5. So we know at least 10 teams that are going into the grand final. But yeah, if you're finding yourself on those 2 outlying groups that are still a little bit close in terms of your top 5, it's gonna hurt you, because this is your game. This is the game, the final game before the grand finals. This is the last game of the group stages that we'll be playing tonight across all the lobbies. So if there's ever time to be doing anything, it's going to be now. I mean, you just got to keep up that positive mental attitude. You got to keep pushing yourself and just keep focusing on next and focusing on the big picture, because at the end of the day, what else can you do? You can't, there's no more breathing room. It's your final game. If you're not doing your absolute best and giving it your all going into this game, then maybe it just wasn't meant to be at the end of the day. But it is difficult. It's a hard mental state to deal with, and I'm sure that the teams are going to do so successfully, because they wouldn't be here if they weren't good at the game. I think that's also important to realize, is that all of these Apex aficionados, they love the game to its core. They love the competitiveness of it, and it's really, really awesome to see how they have all performed throughout these 3 weeks. But man, oh man, the grand finals is just 1 week away, and it's going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at that grand finals, having obviously the top 5 of this group. We're looking at Punks, WRG, Dark Esports, Aquaman, 6ix9ine, looking at group 2, right? Nibble, Ominous, Washed, INV, the Breads. I mean, that 10 already, come on, it's going to be pretty hectic. It's going to be pretty stacked. And, I think a lot of teams might actually thrive of how intense it can be in those kind of grand final situations when you're pinned against the top 20 teams in South Africa. And this is it, right? This 12th game, if you can still qualify for that grand finals, to kind of just show us what you've been hiding, what's been in the back of your pocket this entire time. Now is the time to pull it out. And you hate for it to be this game, right? Because we always talk about how you have to kind of look at it first of as like this grander arc structure of like Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and then inside those acts there's like a series of 4, and there's like game 1, game 2, halfway, game 3, game 4. Now you're at that final point in that final arc, and now it's time to tell your Cinderella story.
Cinderella story. I love that. It's such a good story. But speaking of stories, we're into game 12, the final game of the group stages. If there ever was a game that all of these teams need to be on their absolute best, it's going to be this one. And look at that. We see WRG leaning towards that lava siphon area, which is a new point of interest. Also a hot drop. They're going to get some really good loot there, but we're on the side of Dark Esports, the winners of our last game. And I think they got a really, really good motivation. They got a lot of, I would say, hype from that game, man. I mean, that must have been really awesome for them to win. And now going into this game, I'm sure they're on the edge of their toes, just ready to seal up the deal.
Yeah, definitely looking to seal it up. And I mean, if we're looking at just how the points are looking today, right, ladies and gentlemen, obviously, we show you the overall leaderboard, but just on today's week 3, the team that's been performing the best, I think to no surprise, is definitely Punks. They have 57 points just from today. In second place is WRG, Yes, they were kind of lackluster towards the beginning, not making it to lots of those any games, but they were definitely picking up kills along the way. It seems like, that first place finish definitely helped them boost themselves up. But a bit of a competition between the 3rd, 4th, and 5th spots this week, Dark Esports, 6ix9ine, and Aquaman. They've just been fighting amongst the 3 of them to kind of be like, who's the dominant force between the 3, each sitting at, 27, 25, and 24 respectively. So interesting to see who's going to do better off within this group. I think that's the real narrative that we have left in this lobby, right? Because those teams are pretty much guaranteed them support into that grand final. Dog esports are going down though. This fight is going crazy. And for now, it does seem like there's one trade and he's swooping in to try and get rid of this Valkyrie. The Valkyrie goes down and all left the Predator to try and clutch up the situation against the Gibraltar player. He's down to almost 0 HP. He needs to run away. Takes the jump pad. Might be a big mistake, but gets away. Just for now, keeping the dreams of Dark Esports alive.
I mean, for now, oh my word, look at his HP. He was on the verge, the brink of defeat, but they seem to initiate that fight. And look at that. There's still another team lurking on the side that, heard all of this. It was Punks Gaming, but they were so busy with their own fight, they didn't care about what was happening to their right. And they were able to clean up a squad there. So really good props to them. But yeah, Dark Esports, not a good start at all, considering 2 of their players has been eliminated. Yes, the banners are recoverable, but for how long? As it's just one lone player that has to go against another 3 to get them back, and it's just very unlikely to happen. So unfortunately, well, maybe we could see, as you said, the Cinderella story. Is it going to happen? It seems like one of the teammates had quit out, and Dark Predator went to go get some information and see if they were still lurking there, and sadly they are. So that's the nail in the coffin for 2 of his teammates, and he's just going to be alone for the rest of the game. But that doesn't mean he can't get some placement points. He can still rat and try and see how much he can do throughout this game. There's still some life in him, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting, in this lobby, right? Because you kind of just have these 2 dominating teams in the form of Punks, WRG, that have really just been going through the lobby, getting kills, getting their placement points. But then you look at those, 3 teams just below them, Dark, Aquaman, and 6ix9ine, who we've seen put up some decent numbers tonight, especially. Just like battling it out amongst the 3 of them, it's interesting that he's fallen in. Did he not get onto that zip line? Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, no, cut away from it, please. No, Punks just pretty much just fish
too painful.
A free kill. Yeah, it was just too painful. Punks just doing what they've been doing for most of the lobby. And Cinder, we're just all of a sudden down to 7 squads as well. They're trying to close things up early
tonight.
That's
not a revenge story, then I don't know what
Dude,
is, man.
That is revenge at its finest, literally.
You're so right, though, Tendo. I mean, 7 squads, 20 people left. Zone 1 is literally just about to close, and White Rabbit Gaming, they want to make sure this game is over before it even begins, because they are pushing in with that Revenant ulti, and 2 of them have been sent back. I stand corrected. 3 of them being sent back. And it seems like they're trying to push onto Punks, and Punks are fully ready and capable to deal with the situation, as they have dealt with many times before. But man, oh man, as you spoke about, 7 squads just before Zone 1 is closed? That is just crazy.
Yeah, I think everybody's just in fragment for some reason as well, right? We have Punks and WRG here, the top 2 teams just waging war. Totem push didn't quite work out successfully for WRG, thankfully for Punks. Everything's just gonna get stable for a little bit. Everybody needs to start making a few decisions, because obviously, the zone isn't really in this position. Wingman shots coming through from Nyling doesn't quite connect. It's gonna have to back off, find a couple of heals. WRG have been super aggressive towards the latter stages of tonight. They started off playing very passively, but now they're just trying to fish up every single kill that they can find.
Every single kill they can possibly find. I mean, White Rabbit, man. White Rabbit, they are just such a good team of individual players, but as you said, the synergy a little bit lackluster at times, and sometimes maybe it's the communication, maybe the egos, but man, oh man, the ego coming from that R99 is so satisfying, as Rexu is looking to push here as the aggressive wraith that he is. Let's see if he can get into the middle of this building. They are going through the tunnel, but maybe being a little bit tamed by the dark corridors that lie between. But look how many teams are outlying here. Look how many people are in this fragment area. It's basically the whole lobby at this point.
Yeah, basically the whole lobby. because there's like only 7 teams. We've got about 4 here. It is maybe just those outlying teams that are actually focusing on their rotations and not these kind of fights. Punks seem to be one of those that have had a little bit too much of this fight, and they're just trying to get into the next zone. Again, obviously, ladies and gentlemen, this is the All-Stars tournament brought to you by Incredible Connection alongside Metal State. I hope everybody's enjoying the stream. We've definitely been enjoying the Apex Legends action, and obviously to shout out ROG, who have sponsored so much during the course of the tournament. Zone, interesting, and we always get interesting zones here in All-Stars. We'll see exactly how it closes up, and I mean, like, everybody's just in this one location, Cinder. It's odd, you know, it's quite odd for a final game.
This is very, very odd. I mean, this is almost like a repeat of the first game where we saw those Revenants going at, or that multiple teams going at it with the Revenant ultis going back and forth, but it seems like Punks once again finding themselves in a very aggressive position. They do have that jump pad to work with if they choose to. Oh, there he goes. It's going to pop right down. 2 of the teammates taking a aggressive stance already, so it's just going to be the Octane who's going to be utilizing that jump pad. But man, oh man, they are on the hunt. They are on the chase. And they just seem to be driving White Driver Gaming towards that tunnel area. But there's still another looming squad around, so I'm sure they can make something happen from that. As we see Coulter trying to reposition back onto the jump pad. He's going to keep pushing forward. They are just non-stop going at each other's necks like vipers. It is crazy, crazy, crazy. Right now, you've got to be looking at the ammo situation, though. Only 93 bullets in the Queel's R301. And that is going to be dealt with onto that Octane, and there's a Gibby or Wraith climber, a Revenant, and he's going to get down and punished. But has he got enough to deal with the Wraith as well? It doesn't seem so, but where's his 2 teammates? Are they going to be able to follow up? Jeeves coming in. He's going to get one of the players down to Flesh, and he's going to get the full elim as well. That is WRG being eliminated.
Yeah, I mean, Punks just flexing that the superior team in the group, you know, they still alive after taking down WRG. The fight was pretty hectic. I mean, there were so many teams in the area. We've got teams fighting in Lava Siphon who had made that early rotation, unlike Punks and WRG. And yeah, WRG questionable here and there throughout the group stages. I think you'd probably have looked at the lobby, right, Cinder, and you probably thought WRG would have topped it, right? Not Punks, but Punks definitely came in to prove a point. And you know, we'll be looking at Punks in that grand final as maybe one of our top 4 teams, just based on the way they've been playing thus far tonight. And will they carry that momentum into the next week? We don't know, right? We'll just have to make sure and find out. But for the most part, everybody's just died in the lobby. We're just down to just a couple of squads lingering here and there in Lava Siphon, all trying to make their rotations now.
I mean, rotations to be had, but I mean, the way that we've seen these lobbies been playing, not many few and far teams in between are making those rotations, making early rotations. Everyone just seems to be going at each other. And that's kind of, you know, the storyline that we've been seeing throughout of this. But 1, 2, 3, 4 teams, or 4 disjointed, or what is left of 4 teams, because unfortunately I don't see a full team except for the likes of Punks Gaming. Everyone else, duos, solos, just the remnants of what is left of this lobby as Lie trying to find some space with that All-Star. They still, look at that. Look how active they're being. Look how active Rollers is being, making sure they check every nook and cranny to ensure their safety, and any outlying rats or opponents that may be on the edge of zone there, that's free KP that they can mop up.
Got a feel for the Rollers as well. You know, they're sitting in 6th place, just behind 6 and 9, and the difference is quite a lot, but they've been playing quite well, you know, I think in the lobby compared to a lot of the other teams, especially coming in here as an all-exclusive console team, right? You know, proving that crossplay was definitely a great decision for Respawn to have made, and EA to add the players in. And they're definitely competing and showing that you can compete on any input regardless of what's really happening. Nighthounds, we haven't seen much of alive in this one, trying to make some rotations in the valley. You need to be careful. Teams are above them on that high ground, and they could start to poke at them. And we got a little bit more clear understanding of just what's happening in the zone and where it's pulling now to 3 teams making rotations like Punks trying to get to the end game. And there's just a couple of these fights from this high ground in this valley. Really tough spot there where Nighthounds is. Ooh, the L-Star from Lai with that 4 times is going to absolutely pelt the play in front of him.
That was a well-placed R-Star. The Gibby Dome coming in clutch there. There's still another team. It's caught between 2 teams. Rolo's having this high ground here to work from. Oh my goodness me, that L-Star is just insane. It's insane how some of these players can control weapons like this. Honestly, I personally, I just stay, I don't even touch it. I don't even look at it. You know, I see it in the lobby. I just don't even want it near me. But the way that this man is using this L-Star is just poetry. It's absolutely beautiful to watch as he continues to lay out those orbs of glowing red, starting to lead their way towards those unsuspecting players. But look at this zone. Everyone finally having made their way into the zone. There's still so many solos, so many duos lurking around, and Punks once again the only team that has 3 up right now.
I feel like Punks runs through the rest of the lobby, you know, just based on the stats, no one's really going to compete against them. You know, they work well as a team. They've got the synergy, they've got the coordination, and it looks like they're looking to get involved. Yeah, Quilt spins around, shreds the player to smithereens, pops down in with the Eva 8, doing absolute madness as his teammates come in to back him up. And look at Punks go, moving like a unit, moving like a Mercedes-Benz, a BMW. I don't know what kind of car you gotta call it over here, but Punks just work like a well-oiled machine. A Bugatti, maybe some would say. Even.
Very interesting. Yeah, I'm good at analogies. I like where you were going with that. That was really exciting, actually. But speaking of things that roll, we have the rollers over here. Lie, Smoke, Connie Faces. I stand corrected. Rollers is also 3 up and has been for quite a while, so my apologies there. But they are in congestion. I think they could contest Punks. I think they definitely can. I mean, we've seen some serious L-Star beams coming out from the likes of Lay. So, I mean, they could definitely hold their own, perhaps. Right now, they're just trying to fish out any solos, any scraps they can find, as they have spotted out one of those solos hiding inside of the building. He does make his way out, and he's going to get out of dodge, it seems. And Rollers, they've made their position known, and that's going to put Only Aces in a little bit of predicament. He's going to heal up. He's going to be out of commission for a little bit. But Zone 3, Round 3 closing. Round 4, the unhealable zone. And it pulls so northern, man. So northern. These teams are all going to have to vie for that high ground on top of that cliff face. And I think Punks is going to be the first team to get there.
Punks is in a power position. They have so much control of the zone. They really understand what's happening in front of them. I saw them pick up a golden backpack as well, right? So that's going to be really big towards some of these end game fights. If one of the players do go down, might be able to pop that dome, get a res. And they're just going to try, fish around, get a couple damages in, level up the evil shields on Jeeves especially, you know, everybody else rocking the red. And that just goes to show how many fights they've been taking. You know, now when 2 players at this point in the time of the game have red evos, Rollers are going to have to be making their move in soon. Whoa, work wheel is back at it again with the Eva 8. He just mows this player down. He's just asserting dominance. He's just rolling on in. And it's just like they're running into him and they're just finding his crosshair. And he's just pelting them down. Currently kill leader with 8 kills. Punks. They're getting closer and closer to that 200-point threshold, Cinder. So now I ask the question, do you think they hit 200 points based on how they've been playing thus far?
No, for 8 kills, 2,200 damage, I couldn't see why not. But right now, they're finding themselves in a position because they have been spotted out. And we're going to have a look at this leaderboard once again, Group 3. But, you know, we'll take that way as we go back straight into the action. And the action is over because it's Punks. And they just destroying this lobby.
Dude,
so
that
let's go back to the leaderboard.
Doesn't miss, eh? Have you seen?
It doesn't
just doesn't miss.
It doesn't. Look at this. 177 points with what I've just seen. Nah, they got it. They got it. 100%. They're going to hit 200. They have to. I'm putting my money on it. But they do still have 2 other squads to deal with right now. They have 3 squads in total currently in this lobby. 8 players remaining as ICAll continues his dominance with that 301, just spotting a pixel of that player and able to lay out that fire. Oof, it burns, it burns, it burns like a thorn in the side. That's exactly what Punks is right now. Because if you are not hidden and if you have not made your position known, you are going to find yourself on the receiving end of their bullets. As the zone closes, though, there's still room to play with. There is still space for these teams to move.
Well, one team right now is in a bit of a tough spot, and I'm thinking it's the team of rollers, right? Yes, they have a little bit of that structure to work with and to use for cover, but the way Punks is playing, they are just looking for every bit and piece that you're showing, and they'll just engage on that. Zone is pulling ahead of them. A couple of shots flying from Calder into the distance to just deal a little bit of damage, deter that team. And it's interesting because this would have been WRG, don't you think, Cinder? You know, that fight, we have to go way back to the beginning of the game at Fragment, where the fight was breaking loose between Punks and WRG. This would be WRG if they had managed to win that. Then the conversation of, hey, is this 200-point, group stage finish for Punks even going to happen? We probably wouldn't be talking about it. But now, here we are. It's happening. Everything is quiet for now, as the zone is about to close in the next 30 seconds.
Bloodhound scan. He's just trying to bide his time. He's trying to protect himself as long as he can, the lonely solo that he is. But, there's not much I foresee him doing in the future of this game, as he's got 2 very strong quads to deal with. He's still a little piece in this greater chess game that is going on right now, as Punk's just continuously relocating, continuously being active, chipping away at everyone as best they can. But geez, he's on the prowl. He wants to secure this kill. He gets the stick! He gets the stick! The follow-up made his wall, and now he's going to look for the play. He gets the down onto 1. This is going to be a wrap-up, I'm sure, but oh my goodness, the ghost stick coming out of nowhere, and ICAll to finish it up. Man, oh man, oh man, what an initiation coming out. I'm sure he's going to go in here. There's the eva, there's the cleanup, and now it's just up to the final squad. They know exactly where they are, they know exactly what to do, and here it goes. All we see is ICAll going into the fray. He's going to find the distance. His cold is already setting it up for him. He's throwing the nades. The Gibraltar ulti raining down for dramatic effect. There's ICAll. He's taking a little bit of damage, but he's still trying to get the down onto the player. He's unable to do so, taking a little bit of damage. He's going to be pushed, but he's okay for now. No, he goes down. There is 1 player down and 1 player left. They just need to finish him off. 2 players chasing towards him, and that's exactly what Punks is going to do. Finish it up with style. And did they hit 200? Tendo, did they hit 200? They must have. Surely they must have.
Yeah, they definitely hit 200. I'm actually going to be curious to see how many points they dropped in just that one game, right? With ICAll finishing off at kill leader with plus 10 kills there. And that Oxstar stick through the door. I'm still stunned by that. That was a crazy one. The alignment on that had to be absolutely superb. And Punks comes out top of this group, and I mean for good reason. They've been an absolute unit. They perform so well. You can definitely see how clean the comms are, and they've got some really heavy hitting stars on that team that I'm really excited to see coming into that final. And just look at that, 12 kills, 3,200 damage from ICAll, man. That is crazy.
Okay, well, let's take points alone, right? 12 for 21 points. They got 21 points just off kills alone. A first place placement. They did, they capped 2. They definitely smashed it up. They are way above 200, and they did so well. Look at that, 210 points, Tendo. White Rabbit Gaming with 154. You can't shy away from that, but 210. Welcome to the 200 Club. Punks Gaming, I'm sure you are going to be happy with that, especially carrying that morale into the finals. That would be great. You're going to be matching up with the likes of 80k and all the other goats in throughout the groups. But man, oh man, what a game to end the group stages. Wow, I mean, it just looked so easy for critics, the way he was pulling out that EVA 8 and just running at people. Like, it was almost like it was a training ground.
Yeah, it looked like a training ground for him, right? You know, it's sometimes just about having that confidence and that entry fragger player obviously coming in. You have to have that confidence, you know, or else your team is going to just suffer with that damage input and trying to get those kills. And you just need that support behind you, which he definitely has with the likes of Calder and Jeeves just playing so well off each other most of the time. And again, it's just, you know, synergy that really builds a team, and just playing with each other week in, week out, that really puts you in a spot like this. I mean, I think the only group that we might not see a 200-point first place might be Group 1. We'll just have to wait and see all the final stand-ins when they do come in, because there was a really big fight in that group, right, between the top two teams anyways. Even though it was kind of solidified on who was going through, they were still going a little bit back and forth on that one. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I mean, Group 2, 3, 4, all first place 200-point finishers. And Cinder, with that, like, how do you feel coming out of group stages just with that kind of energy and morale?
I mean, in terms of morale, they did really, really well. But we got to look at all the groups once again. We just got to have a look, see what I mean, because you have to understand. And we were also playing like we were focusing on Group 3, but there was still Group 1, 2, and 3. And 4, of course, that we have to take into consideration. So looking at Group 1, our first group, 155 points on Pretty Big Ponies, vibing in second place with 145. Project Rise, 137, and the real ones only with 107. And your boys, they were able to snack it up with 88. So those are our Group 1 first 5, the first 5 that are qualified for the finals. Tedor, do you want to break down Group 2 for us?
In Group 2, we obviously have Nibble, who seemed to have a bit of a slower day today, right? You know, only at 254 points, but hey, I mean, it is 254 points. Omnis seemed to pick up a little bit of slack there, coming in second place. You have Wash in third place, INV coming in fourth place, and then the Breads just managed to maintain their spot at fifth place, or pretty much the entirety of the group stages. I think they were pretty much fifth place the entirety of the 3 weeks for the most part, as far as I remember. And yeah, some really good plays that obviously came in there. And we already know our top 5 coming in from Group 3, who we just watched. Punks, 210 points during that 200 club. WRG at 154. Dark Esports, 109. 69 at 104, and then Aquaman at 103. Just look how close it was between 3, 4, and 5 in this group, right? Like I said, it was just that battle that they were having, Cinder.
Very, very close. But looking at Group 4, man, 80k Esports, absolutely dominant, 245 points. We have Wing Gang with 112, DSG Esports, Vicamus, and Damage Control. Those are our 5 qualifying. That is our total 20 qualifying for the finals. But man, oh man, all of these other teams that were so close. Look at Sithic Esports on 77 points. 77 just behind 85 for fifth place. That's got to be heart-wrenching. That's got to be heartbreaking. But man, oh man, these group stages were so good to watch. And a huge congratulations to every single team that participated throughout this tournament, especially in the group stages. If you didn't qualify, take this valuable experience, analyze it, love it, leave it, whatever you want to do with it. You gotta have to accept that those were some really awesome plays to be a part of, you know. And we saw them throughout these awesome 3 weeks of group stages that we have been watching. Speaking of really awesome things that we have to announce tonight, we do have the winner of the mouse giveaway for you, and that winner is, are you ready for it? It is Dark Warrior DA. Congratulations, you are the winner of the Strix Impact 2 Asus P506 Rock mouse. You are, I'm so jealous of you. We need to be friends. You and I need to be friends, because that is such an awesome mouse. Congratulations. We had Snowball Ninja with the headset giveaway, and we also had Shannon with the 1,000 Rand incredible connection voucher giveaway as well. So many prizes to be won. There's still 1 grand prize and 3 other unique prizes that we will be releasing to you guys coming into the grand finals. If you do want to be entered into that competition, all you have to do, if you want to be entered to win the grand prize, which is an 18,999 Rand gaming PC, this beautiful beast right here, the AMD Ryzen 5, 8GB, 512GB SSD of storage, and a GTX 1660 with Windows Home pre-installed. All you guys have to do to enter in that is root for your favorite team. Who do you think is going to be taking home the grand final prize money of, portion of 50,000 Rand? All you have to do to enter into that is at Medal State, at Incredible Connection, and use the hashtag ICAllStarGaming. Who do you think is going to win? Once again, congratulations to our winners, Dark Warrior DA, Snowball Ninja, and Shannon Pika. Love it, love it, love it. Man, we've been giving away so many prizes throughout this tournament, and it is so awesome to see such a great initiative and great sponsors and great partners as well. But I think that wraps up our group stages. I think we have pretty much just hit the nail on the head. Do you have any closing thoughts going in?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, to anybody that is coming into that grand finals as one of the teams, it's a really good time to actually go back through all the VODs, right? And just make sure that you understand how all these teams play, because you didn't really get a chance to play them, right? You were kind of focused on your one group, and now it's definitely that time as IGL to do your research and make sure that you come in prepared, because it is 100K, guys. My goodness. Are you kidding me? And if you're not ready for that one, it's going to be really, really tragic. But I'm excited, and I think with the teams that we've got pulled into this grand final, it's going to be absolutely amazing. I mean, we've got Incredible Connection here. We've got Medal State. We've got ROG coming together, making this beautiful baby, bring up the Apex Legends scene as well. And yeah, I'm just ready to get into next week and get into these grand finals.
Pioneers of the ZA esports scene. I absolutely love it. It's great. Everyone coming together, and it's been awesome. So once again, congratulations to our 20 teams that have qualified. Congratulations to all the teams that participated, and congratulations to all the winners of the prizes throughout the stream. But I think that is going to be wrapping it up for us tonight, and we will see you guys next week, Wednesday, 7 o'clock SAST sharp. Be there, be square. That is the grand finals, the grand finale, the desktop giveaway. There's so much that you can be involved in going into these grand finals. So I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. Pin it in your calendar, and we'll see all of you guys next week.
Come on.